And all right, so like I said before, these lessons are all what you want to do at the end of the day. We can do, like I said, VOD analysis of the videos or the Slippy files you sent to me. We
Mhm.
can play a set, but a lot of times I find that playing a set isn't necessarily the best use of the time just because of skill disparity. That being said, I can play many different characters. Only characters I can't really play are like Puff and Peach.
No, I'm fine with VOD review because currently right now like I hurt my wrist recently. My friend, I was lucky enough to somehow obtain a Goom Wave for free thanks to my friend. And
What
whenever
the?
I got it, I played a bunch because it was like playing with the best controller I've ever had.
Yeah, you're like, oh
So
my god, this is unreal.
I hurt my wrist. And so like I'm fine with just watching videos and talking about like some of my habits. I know Arthur mentioned like that I would potentially be able to get help with like maybe finding some better reaction points.
Oh,
And I
definitely,
know that
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
I also like I know some of my habits, but I think a problem with knowing my habits is that I don't know the answers to like transition with those. So like I know what I do in the corner and I know it's bad, but I don't know what I could supplement it with to change. So I'm hoping some of those problems would come out in these games. Out of like 9 of these games, 6 of these games were in like a tournament that I played in on Wednesday, and they're both against the same person because I played against them in winners, and then I made it to grand finals, and then I played against them in grand finals. But they're 2 different characters, so they played Fox in winners, and then they played Sheik in grands, and I got beat both times.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
then the other one is just a Falco player. I was actually going to play Cray and my other friend, and I was gonna have those games because obviously the Falco matchup is super important for Falcon,
Mm-hmm.
but because my wrist hurt, I did not ask them to play. So I ended up just like I ran into a Falcon unranked at some point, and they like I think they destroyed me. So like I think that would also these are just me getting beaten. I don't have any games of me winning. I don't know if you want games of me winning, but I don't think they'll be that helpful.
No, typically games that I mean, games that you usually win, you learn more from games where they're close and you lose than the games that you win. Usually, like even the
Hmm.
games that you win and it's close, I find, mostly just because you lost. So there's probably something. There's at least something. Let's assume there's at least one thing that went wrong in order for you to lose a set. Which obviously there's
Yeah,
many more than
there are
just
many things.
many things, of course. But you can always know that it is. But if you win, there might not
Mhm.
necessarily be one thing that you will necessarily did wrong. Again, there definitely was, but just saying, right?
Yeah.
For hypothetically speaking. Um, is there any particular game do you want to start with out of the list of them?
I don't. Let me see. I don't know what order they're in. I don't.
I don't know
We can just
either. I
we can just start with the first one. Like it's. I struggle with. I think that's Fox. Let me see. It's a short game.
the first
Yeah,
one
it's Fox on
being
Battlefield.
yeah,
I'm down
Fox on
with that.
Battlefield. Okay, yeah, that's the one
Yeah.
I have currently. Okay, let me share my screen.
Hmm.
1 second. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now was this the set you said was winners and grands or
This was winners.
winners?
This
Okay.
was winners. Yeah.
Now I don't know your particular skill level, but I always ask this for everyone. Did you have any specific game plan before going into the set?
I've played them a bunch. We're good friends, but they are significantly better than me. I've only been playing for 10 months, and they've been playing for many years. I know that like whenever I go into it, I know a couple of like things, but I don't have like a true game plan for Fox other than like I want to get Lord Stomp in the matchup because like I want to beat out Fox Nair, but I struggle whenever I try to approach with crouch cancel because I don't know necessarily how to discern between a Nair approach and a drill approach. And so if I get drill approached and then I get drill shine up smash or whatever, and then and then in disadvantage, I don't really know how to like distinguish between those two. And then I
Well,
also
sorry to control. I'll start by saying that most foxes do not approaching drill. That's something
okay.
that, unlike they are, that's very easily like beaten. but most foxes do not approaching drill. Fox's best tool he's going to use when he's approaching is nair, short hop or full hop or whatever. Approaching drill is not really the best thing because it's kind of hard to link into anything. Drill's more of a move when they're close to you, or maybe if they're slightly above you, maybe. But for the most part, they're not going to necessarily approach with drill. So it's safe to say that you can CC in a lot of situations where you can shield if they're going to be approaching. Now, I don't know how capable you are, and we'll probably see in a bit how capable you are with utilizing crouch cancel in general. But I could probably make a good guess that you don't use it that often, or at least not.
When I use it, like I've only recently started to be able to incorporate it because I also only recently started going to like tournaments. And when I use it, I've started to use it more. However, I find that when I use it, I don't always get the punish I want out of it. So like maybe I get too greedy and I crouch cancel in air, and then I go for a stomp instead of for a grab. I struggle getting like turnaround grabs whenever they nair through me after I crouch cancel it, and because they hit me from the front with the nair and drifted through me, instead of it like auto correcting so that I'm looking at them, I end up just whiffing a grab in front of them, and then they punish me. So like, I have like the part where I crouch cancel. I don't have the part where I get the supplementary punish.
Okay. Also, I was just about to say, this first game is 49 seconds long. I don't know if this is just like hand warmers.
Wait, what? Oh, wait, one second.
Let me just see. Yeah, this one's hand warmers. So.
Okay, my bad.
No, that's not your bad. Let me just I probably have the other one. I'm just going to remove this one.
Yeah, I think that I posted two. I probably posted 2 of the 3 games then. But I'll find the other one after we watch these first 2, because the other one will be game 1 and game 2 at least.
Let me see. Yeah, this is it. Okay. We should screen again. Okay. Now getting back to specifically game plans. Typically, now some people might say this is a simplistic view of things, but I find it's easier to look at the game simplistically or in a very simple manner than it is to overcomplicate things. And how I think of game plans in general is I think of game plans as what I want, what they don't want, and vice versa. What they want and what I don't want, essentially, right? So what do I want? What do I not want? What do they want? What do they not want? In particular, Falcon, both characters really want a knockdown, but in particular for Falcon, his main moves at low percent are grab and stomp and knee that you're really going to be using. Now, like you said, you'd like to use Lord Stomp for approaching nairs. But the thing is that, and I'm probably one of the few Falcons who doesn't like Lord Stomp, just because I find that it's a crutch. A lot of Falcons end up using a Lord Stomp, and they use it to base their entire neutral around Lord Stomp. Anytime a Fox is approaching, Lord Stomp. Anytime, it's just raw neutral, Lord Stomp. And it's like, yes, it's a very good option. But the thing is, you start to rely on it too much, and when the time comes, you just start to use it in spots you shouldn't necessarily use it. And then you don't necessarily have the proper neutral implemented in order for you to actually choose the right option. So you're just stuck doing Lord Stomp and get punished for it. Like, once Foxes start to do up smash instead of nair, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely find myself running into that. I find myself doing moves a lot without purpose, where like I'm just throwing something out and I'm hoping that it'll connect, and so that I can like try and transition into a punish. I definitely use like in addition to Lord Stomp, it's like just like approaching nair with no drift. It's just like full on like monkey mode.
Monkey mode. That's a good way of putting it. You're just aping out.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. That's definitely something I've suffered from before, where you don't necessarily have intention behind your moves, and you kind of just throw things out hoping they hit. And the reason why, it's a couple of reasons. One reason is because you are unsure of whether or not something's going to hit, in which case you're not sure of what is possible from the situation that you're currently in, which is just experience in general. Like, for instance, let's say you guys are both dash dancing on like separate sides of the stage, and you try to do like an overshot knee and like you undershoot it, and it's because you didn't drift enough, and it's like you did that because you hoped it was going to hit, but you don't actually have the intel to know whether or not it's going to hit or not. You're just hoping, right?
Yeah.
And the other situation is you're panicking. A lot of people will do things that they hope for because they're panicking and they can't formulate a proper action for a situation, and they just go with what's the most comfortable. And it kind of comes out from what they're hoping as well, right? Like I'm hoping I get a Lord Stomp, right? That's a comfortable option for you. So it's difficult to break those habits, especially the ones where you're hoping, just because of the fact that Melee is a very mental game, right? And it moves really quickly. And like you said, you're playing versus somebody who's not considerably, but they are better than you.
They're definitely considerably better than me.
Considerably better. So it's extremely difficult at your level when you don't have maybe potentially the technical grasp of your character, and they have much better technical grasp and the brains that go with it. It's very difficult for you to choose right options when you're just always panicking, right?
Yeah.
You're always in situations you've never been in before, or you're put in situations where you have to act way faster than you're used to reacting or dealing with or whatever, right? And it's, in my opinion, it's very difficult also to improve in that kind of situation. That being said, you can still learn a lot from it because a lot of these kind of sets in general show what your panic options are, what your habits are. So it's a good set you chose for this because we can see a lot of what your habits are in specific situations, which is good.
Yeah, that's my main goal with this.
And that's good.
Is to pinpoint my habits so that I can. So maybe I won't be able to immediately change them, but whenever I am in those scenarios again, at least in my mind, I'll have the ability to choose between the options. Even if I start panicking, I'll be in that mindset where I'll be like, oh, I did this again, but I know I can do this, and then it'll slowly transition me using multiple options.
Exactly, right? And that's the first step of overcoming poor habits, right? There's a couple ways that I like to overcome habits, right? It's stuff like that where you are just try to be more mindful in general. It's also helpful to just be more mindful in real life in general because it'll transition into Melee. A lot of things in general, I'll quickly on a tangent, a lot of things in general that you improve on in your real life, like patience and mindfulness and just overall health, will transition into your Melee gameplay. That's one thing that's really, a lot of people ask, how is Armada so patient? It's because he practiced patience in real life. The guy would try to be as patient as a person as he could possibly be outside of the game. Now, what I was trying to get at beforehand, the other way of getting over bad habits is to completely remove that. Go play unranked for a session, and a lot of people ask me how do I incorporate crouch cancel? Now this isn't necessarily a habit, but how do I incorporate something new? Is by eliminating that one thing. Let's say, for instance, you have, instead of crouch cancel, let's say out of shield you keep doing shield grab, right? And it's how do I get over that? It's you don't shield grab whatsoever. You completely stop shield grabbing. Your entire goal for that session is to not shield grab once. I used to actually have a fun game where I would not grab at all. I'd play Falcon without grabbing whatsoever and see kind of how I can get around specific situations. Because dash grab, or just grab, shield grab, whatever, is a huge option for Falcon at any level.
Yeah.
And Wizzy shows that. The guys, won a tournament. And
His
whole game plan is getting a grab and shield grab and whatever, right? So Falcon is his use of grab is very important. But you can also learn a lot from taking away specific things like grab or stomp or nair or whatever, right? But in general, if you're trying to get over a habit or incorporate something new, it's you remove something completely, or you're more mindful about it, or both. It can help a lot too, right? Besides that, I don't really have anything else to say. I think we should just get into the game. Can you see my screen? Just making sure again.
It said I've been disconnected.
Oh.
Yeah, I see a black screen. It says you've been disconnected. Sit tight. We're patching you back in.
Okay, let me try and stop streaming.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Okay, awesome. Let me know anytime if that happens, by the way.
Sure thing.
So yeah, getting back to game plans. Actually, I'll go over this real quick. Going back to game plans, yeah, you want to avoid what they want, and you want to get what they don't want, essentially, which is really simple way of thinking about it, but is obviously much more difficult to implement in practice, right? But the idea is essentially that you don't want to do moves that are unsafe, and moves that aren't necessarily going to lead to a knockdown situation or a grab, because those are the main ways for Falcon to get an actual punish, is by a grab or a meaty knockdown like stomp, or even a knee potentially, right? Even at 0, even a knee can a lot of times lead into something.
Yeah.
But the main things are really you're gonna want to get those moves that lead into those situations. Now you can play around it by getting safe hits here and there, or like with a safe nair, or maybe catch him in the air, or like a back air to kind of get them out of crouch cancel percent. But a lot of times it's easier to just go directly to that specific option and just hit him with it, right? Like a knee or stomp or grab. I have a rule of thumb in the Falco matchup. It's like the two things I say is I avoid shine, getting shined, and I only do stomp, nair, or stomp, knee, and grab. That's it. And it works like tremendously as long as you don't get shined and you use those moves. Now, in particular for Fox, his main goal in neutral at low percent is to get a grab or get an up smash, basically either a launcher or a grab. And those are basically the two main ways that Fox is going to get that, is either raw grab, wave shine into a grab, a nair while you're in the air and he catches you, and then he can get a grab after it. But a lot of Foxes, if they're good enough, they're going to try and hit you with a single laser, and then they're going to up smash you. Because at 0, if Fox just does a raw up smash, it doesn't knock down. But if he gets even a single laser on you and he up smashes you, it knocks down, which for them leads to a tech chase. So in my mind, when I'm playing this matchup, I'm thinking, okay, I want to avoid grab, so like a dash dance grab, because a lot of Foxes love to dash dance grabs in general against Falcon, especially if you're like both on other sides of the stage and you do like a poorly overshot nair or poorly overshot knee or whatever, or stomp, as well as looking for raw up smash approaching like up smash, right? Especially with Fox, it takes a bit of understanding kind of how Foxes want to nair at you. But that's where kind of crouch cancel comes in. It's very difficult to preemptively shield every single time a Fox is going to come at you with a nair. So that's where CC kind of comes in to help you understand maybe how this Fox likes to approach, right? And especially at this level, the habits aren't going to be very they're not going to be varied. They're going to be very what's the word? There's going to be very few differences. Like, not going to be a lot of adaptation. So if the sooner you can get on to understanding someone's habits, which I'll show you kind of some ways of how to do that, the sooner you're
I need help with that.
Yeah, the sooner you're going to be able to kind of improve your neutral exponentially.
I find whenever I try to like learn people's habits, it feels like I'm chasing a ghost, and then like I can never like properly punish it. That's one of my worst attributes, even though I play like the read character, like presumably, right? Like
Yeah.
I play the character that gets the most out of out of a read, and I don't get that as much as I want to, and I want like more consistent ways to like condition people into like what I want them to do.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that.
Conditioning is difficult. I try not to go over conditioning specifically, because conditioning takes a decent amount of control of your character if you're going to condition the way, let's say, like None does it. It's better to just understand people's habits and just punish them for those specific habits than to condition them to do specific habits in order for you to punish them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so it's awesome if you can condition somebody and make them do what you want them to do. But in my mind, it's much more difficult as time goes on to start to make people do that consistently, like from player to player. And it's much easier just to find their habits, because they come up pretty quickly. You'll notice like within the first 20 seconds of this game, once we start, we'll probably see a couple habits already from this Fox.
Okay.
And that leads me into one more thing. In particular, there are generalized lists or rather, I call it like a framework of how people like to play, like how specific characters like to play. Now, an example of that is like out of like let's say Fox mistext, and you're not able to get a true punish, but you have frame advantage. Now you know what I mean by frame advantage, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay,
understand.
so you have frame advantage, and you're able to get, let's say, a knee on them, right? Most Foxes like choose a defensive option, and that defensive option is either a spot dodge or an up tilt, maybe a roll. Very few choose an offensive option. But the main two that people typically use are shine and spot dodge, which are both beaten by like a well spaced knee, right?
Okay.
So that specific kind of idea of like, okay, most Foxes like to do this in this situation is something to think about, and we can start to build that during this analysis. I'll show you kind of like, okay, this situation, Foxes like to do this. This situation, Foxes like to do that. And then from there, once you kind of have that framework, when you start to play more people, you can start to understand your opponent much quicker and kind of see where they deviate from that framework, right? Another example of this is like, okay, Falcons who are close to stage, but they're off stage and you're kind of like near ledge and they double jump on. A lot of Falcons love to double jump aerial.
Yeah.
Right? Double jump knee. That's kind of like a framework idea, right? And very few Falcons will do like a neutral jump and then drift in, which is kind of like, I call like the Johnny double jump, which is like a really good option. But most Falcons will do that double jump aerial. So that's kind of like the idea of the framework, right? It's like, okay, I know the situation. I've seen this before. Falcons love to double jump aerial here. I'm gonna punish that, and you'll do whatever that needs to be to punish that, right?
I'm definitely not as cognizant about that kind of thing as I want to be.
And honestly, you probably won't be for. I mean, like intuitively, you probably won't be for a while. You've only been playing the game for 10 months. Now that being said, you started the game the best time to start the game, with Slippy and I mean, hell,
there's many resources available.
You have many resources, and hell, one of your good friends is a really good Falco player. So
Yeah.
you have the ability to, even though he's a Falco player, you can still like ask him questions whenever. But you're not going to necessarily just come out of this and be like, oh, now I can do this. Oh, now I can do that. Oh, now I know how to read or tell people's habits so quickly.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of work, which obviously you know, but I just want to make it clear that it's going to take time. So don't beat yourself up if even a year from now you're still kind of doing similar things that you've done before. I know people who've been playing this game for 8 years and haven't changed something for like the past 3 years. Like they changed here and there, but their habits are still the same. Like my brother's a great example. He's been playing the game since 2006, and he'll add like something in here and there, but I still punish him for the same rolls. I still punish him for the same bad ledge options or whatever, right? But the first step of overcoming that is analysis and critical thinking, right? And being curious about why did something happen, which is I could already tell you already do, which is great, right? You're already thinking about things, why they happen, and you should always have that kind of analytical brain of this happened, why did this happen, what could have happened, why did it happen, kind of thing. You should be doing that all the time. Like I'll watch Melee, and that's all I'm thinking about is I'm like watching and I'm enjoying it, but I'm also thinking this happened, why did that happen, whatever, right? Because that gets you thinking about the game quicker and understanding the game quicker too. If you just passively watch the game or passively play the game, you're always going to be in that passive autopilot kind of zone where you're just kind of doing things that just feel good and not actually looking at the screen,
Yeah.
Besides that, I think we've done enough preamble. Let's try to get in and see what's actually going on.
Sure thing.
So I can already tell two things, or rather one. I don't know if this will be prevalent later on in the game, but you're already trying to hit Fox where he is instead of where he's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You have to in Melee. You have to try to hit people where they're going to be, because you're not fast enough, or you don't have enough drift or whatever in order to hit somebody where they exactly are, and they're moving, right? If they're a stationary object, then that's fine. But in this situation, when you guys are both raw neutral, you try to grab him where he was right here, and that's where this grab would have hit. You then try to stomp where he was, and instead you probably could have hit him if you didn't fast fall this at the last second. And that's another thing. Falcon gets a lot off of not fast falling his aerials, or at least an extremely late fast fall. Be it nair, be it knee, be it stomp. If you hadn't fast fell this knee like you did here, you would have hit. See how you're and you didn't even let it come out. And now again, this is the first 2 seconds of the game, but this shouldn't be
It's definitely
happening
indicative of what is to come.
What is to come, exactly, right? And that's the thing. It's been literally not even 2 seconds of the game, and we've already come across two things.
There was a thought process behind the grab. I thought due to like previous approach, because I have played them before. I thought they were going to jump off nair off the platform, and so I shield dropped to like stagger the time that I take to get there, and then I was gonna grab them in the middle of the stage, but they didn't. They fell off, and then they dashed back.
You know what else you can? You know what else you can also do here? You don't have to shield drop here. Because
I guess I could just wave dash off or run off or something.
No. You see how? Well, you could wave that. You can actually wave land here. See how your aerial, you're in the air. You can actually hold down if you're. I think it's second port or it's weird. It's a melee thing that a lot of people don't know, and honestly doesn't really come into effect often. But certain ports on certain stages, it's usually I think ports closer to 4. You're airborne. And you're airborne enough that you can actually just fall through the platform and not even have to land on it. So if you ever want like a cheeky option,
I did not know that.
I think port 2 can do it. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but it looks like you can.
It does look like that.
Almost, maybe not. I think maybe not port 2 actually.
Yeah.
But port like 4 or 3, which you can't do online, but you can actually just fall through platform. I used to do that a lot. I used to like fall through platform, immediately short hop, full drift through, and like knee them. And I'd be able to get some cheeky kills because of it. Or like wave land off into like immediate up air or something. And I'd be able to get some like really, really cheeky openings. Not really that important, but I just came across and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Forgot about that. But yeah, I get what you mean. You have a specific habit behind why they like to do something. If you're going to, I can't necessarily say anything wrong about that. Just try not to. You're early on in your game or in your melee career that you don't want to make it too much of a habit to beat people for their specific habits.
Sure.
Because at this point in time, you're still trying to get the idea of what's good to do in situations. So if you start specifically punishing somebody for something that they like to do, a bad habit of theirs, you're getting rewarded in a way that you might not be able to distinguish between is good to do against foxes or is just good to do against your friend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
And melee is the worst about giving you rewards for specific situations that you did a bad option, but it ended up working out. Which sucks because it's like, oh, I get this a lot on my friend, but then I try and play versus X Fox and I get punished for it every single time. And those are the habits that are hard to break because then you're like, you get hit, you get shook, and your bones get shook when you get punished for it. And you're like, whoa, like, what do you mean I got punished for that? That works all the time. And then it doesn't. And then now you're stuck and you're like, oh shit. And then you're in tournament, now you're screwed. You're completely flustered and everything falls apart. Not saying that that's going to happen, but it can happen. That's happened to me.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen to a lot of people. So it's great that you have an idea of what they like to do, but also I just want to make it clear, try not to let it take too much control over what you want to do in specific situations.
Okay.
Just until you get the idea of, okay, this is what I got to do in this specific situation. If it's like a specific situation where like you now know like, okay, most foxes, like I said, most foxes like to spot dodge or shine here, but he likes to do run pat. Like we're talking about the mistech situation on frame advantage. Most foxes like to do shine or spot dodge on wake up, but some foxes or falcos, let's say either or spacey, like to dash away and immediately bear. You know what I mean? Like then you know, okay, now I know that like that's fine because I know there's a distinction between it. But if it's just like, this is what I think is best to do in this situation, even though like you probably do know it's only good versus your friend, it's good to just kind of make sure that you can check your reality is kind of what I like to say.
Yeah.
But besides that, That was a crazy. Wait, what the heck? Was that a wave land? No, that was a wave dash. That was like far. Are you in a box?
No, I just have a
Or
GameCube
Goom Wave.
controller.
You're a Goom Wave. Goom Wave. Yeah.
This was not the Goom Wave.
Oh,
this was just an ultimate controller.
That's a crazy wave dash. He looks like he went so far.
I think it's because I was trying to dash.
Yeah, dash.
I was trying to dash at the same time, so yeah.
I tried to go for another grab. That's fine. Try to CC. You waited. Rob smash. Okay, let me see. You are spamming that grab button.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what to do at whenever I'm at 0% and then I get the stomp doesn't always like net me what I want, or the stomp is good at 0%. It's just like it's very it just seems easier to get the grab and then turn that into a tech chase to get to that percent where I can like stomp knee or like stomp into whatever.
You can also
So
thing is so I typically like to do certain options that are not necessarily good, but I can get an idea of the capabilities of my opponent. And now what I mean by that, like here's an example. You're both at 0, and you know obviously if you go for like a nair, they can like ASDI down your nair and
yeah,
they can punish you. I will still go for that nair to see if they're capable or if they are that kind of fox to do that. Because if they're not, then I can get a free grab off of that. Or at least I can get them to, maybe do something that they don't necessarily want to do because they got hit by a nair and now I kind of have frame advantage, right? Mm-hmm. I'll do that kind of thing so I don't necessarily need to spam, stomp, and grab. Now, that being said, and once they show me that they can do that, then I'll start to, work in stomp and grab a little bit, kind of like how you're doing here, right? Maybe not spam it as much as you were, but I'll definitely incorporate it a bit more. So you can still go for moves, and I like I said, you only want to go for these specific moves at low percent. That's kind of the game plan. But the thing is you can also go for these other moves to see what your opponent's capable of doing, because then you're kind of limiting yourself completely to just like 2 moves, right? Which is grab and stomp in your case. Now you can also incorporate knee, and if you're really finding it difficult to overshoot properly. Like you find you're like getting stuffed or you're coming up short. Mm-hmm. A good move to learn how to overshoot with is knee, because knee has a long active hitbox. It is really good for trading, and it's much easier to do like an shoot of it than like say stomp, and especially nair, because nair is very difficult because you have to reset to neutral and nair and then press back immediately, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're having difficulties like understanding how to overshoot properly, I recommend just trying to overshoot with knee. Just doing like a no fast fall, full drift forward knee and seeing where that takes you for your approaches. And then eventually start to, also experiment with overshooting with nair. Now that being said, all of this should be done like, on unranked or something, so you're not like pissing off your friends while you're playing them. You're just only overshooting knee. But it's a good way to kind of get an idea of how overshooting works, right?
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to just be like, it's very easy to not develop that skill. And what happens then is you have a lot of Falcons who are too defensive and don't actually know how to approach. And I know some really good Falcons who are like that. Like, they'll take games off PR players, but they don't know how to actually approach properly. They're like, I can't approach here, and then they just kind of spam defensive moves, but they hit really hard, right? Mm-hmm. And I find that unfortunate because half the game for me is like playing aggressive and playing, on the offense and kind of making my opponent do what I want to do, or at least playing in their face. If I'm just playing defensive, it's all their game. That's all. Like, I am giving them full control over what's happening. So far, I like the way that you're playing. You're playing, you're trying. I mean, you're spamming grab and stomp, but you're at least like you're approaching. You're trying to, get.
I'm not very patient.
You're not very patient, which is fine. But a way to make, way to not get punished for not being patient is by choosing obviously the right move, but also going in at the right time. And then if you do get punished, just having a backup plan, like you're able to CC it or you're able to SDI or whatever, right? But that's a whole other story. He just raw up smashes you, which is honestly, like I said, that's like a great move for Fox to do in neutral. So that's one thing you kind of have to be aware of, right? Especially if you don't, if you. I'm trying to think. I'm not gonna make any more assumptions. Let's just gonna let it play. Oh, you could have got that grab. And yeah, then you went for immediately a grab after. So you got this right here where he's slightly at frame advantage. You can't necessarily go for grabs out of scuffle situations. Especially versus Fox. You could have maybe done this versus like maybe a Marth or like a Peach or something. But Fox is too fast for this to happen. And not only that, a lot of times people just spot dodge it instead of dashing away.
Yeah, to be fair, right before this set, I did play a Marth.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. That makes sense.
Literally right before this game.
So you kind of have Marth brain on your mind.
Yeah.
See,
I crouch cancel, but I go for a stomp because I'm greedy.
Okay, so you know what you need to do then? This might surprise you. So next time you practice crouch canceling, don't act out of it.
Okay.
Just don't act out of it, because the thing is your mind is stuck in a situation or stuck in the kind of the mode of I get crouch cancel, immediately act. But the issue is your immediate action is stomp.
Yeah, I never do like empty crouch cancel. I never like dash away or dash through.
And the reason
or like try to retreat. It's always try to
act, right? Which is fine.
Yeah.
Right here you could have gone to grab for sure. But the thing is that we got to break that habit of you immediately acting and immediately acting on that specific option. For me to say, okay, you just gotta grab here instead. It's like, well, how do I incorporate that? I'm stuck in this habit. The only other way is to completely stop doing it, because then you get comfortable with just crouch canceling and not getting anything off of it. Then you get to the point where you're crouch canceling. You know you're gonna get a crouch cancel, but you don't act on it immediately. You then have more awareness.
Yeah.
Which seems counterintuitive, but trust me, it will work.
I think it makes sense.
Because you're like it's like, well, but I need to do something. I got the CC. I need to punish, but it's like a lot of times, just the only way to move on to something is just do nothing, and then eventually you start to see it more, and then you can actually incorporate back in the right option. In which case, not stomp. Yeah, and you're grabbing. Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So I think you actually might pay off. It might work for you to just spend a session and not grab at all.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Forward thrown.
I think I've also been grabbing a lot more because I lost to a Sheik at my local tournament, and then I realized that my grab punishes weren't up to snuff. And so I started like working on grab a bunch, like just like going into Uncle Punch and like Sheik, DIs randomly in the combo trainer.
Yeah.
And then I would just practice doing combo. So like I'm in a very grab heavy like stage of my life right now.
I totally understand that. I still think it would be beneficial to spend time not grabbing.
I think that's what I'll do.
Just a session. Like, don't play too many games. Play like maybe 10 games of just not grabbing at all. And then kind of just think about it, right? Think about it afterwards, after every game. I always tell people, you're on the Angel platform after a stock, think about what happened, right? During games, take like 10 seconds to think about it. Don't take too much time, because the thing is you don't have all the time in the world to do certain things. But it's really good to take that kind of, 5 seconds you have after getting killed, to think about things real quick, right? And then you kind of get faster at it to the point where you don't necessarily need to stay on the Angel platform to know what happened last stock, right? Right here, you did. Did you DI that in? What did you do?
Let's see. I was holding down, and then this, I'm DIing in.
Okay, so you're DIing in. This situation.
And then I drift back because I thought they were gonna I do the instant aerial because I like to knee, and then from that from that part, I can like grab the ledge after the knee, but they go for the ledge. Like at that point, I had reacted, and then after I do the up B, I drift back because I assume that they're gonna go for back air. Because if I drift in, then the back air hits me, but like maybe here I have a chance of living.
Yeah, you're just fucked here anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
it
pretty.
feels like pretty checkmate scenario.
And it's all because of the fact that you went for a more riskier option without setting the precedent. And what I mean by that is you essentially went for a riskier option without seeing what they were going to do in this situation, right?
Mhm.
Like your framework. Your framework. Now, this is kind of a deviation from what I said before, but there's not necessarily a specific thing that most foxes will do here. It's kind of split between whether or not they'll grab ledge or whether or not they'll, stay on stage or whatever. But it's better to go, if you're not sure for something that in this situation where it's not reactable for what you can do, it's better to go for the safer option, in which case not a double jump knee, right? And again, if this is something you do quite often, which we haven't seen yet, it's one of those things where you have to just completely stop doing it, right? You have to just spend a whole session, just stop. And now, again, when I mean spend a whole session to work on something, you're working on that specific thing. You're not working on doing, incorporating crouch canceling and doing no grab and then doing no double jump aerials from stage because you're never going to get anywhere with any of them.
It's too overwhelming.
It's way too overwhelming. Always focus on one specific thing at a time.
Okay.
And it's typically easier to just completely eliminate something than it is to add something in, usually. At least for me, I find that. Maybe it's different for you. Who knows? But I find it's much easier to just be like, okay, I'm not grabbing, and then not grab, right? Because then I just don't press Z. It's like, oh, I don't have to double jump aerial. Okay, every time I'm off stage, I don't press any moves, right? Except for up B. That's it. Or down B. That's it. Crouch canceling. I'm not going to shield at all. I'm only going to hold down. You know what I mean? Like, it's much easier to remove something than it is to just add something in, right? Which is why I always try to go for these restrictive practicing than it is to add something in. At least in this stage of your melee life cycle. If I was you here, I mean, I probably wouldn't have get up attack. That's for one. Two, it's kind of hard because you're pretty much just dead here regardless of what you do. You might be able to do like a no drift jump and then do an immediate up B, but even that could be reacted to. You go low here, they're just gonna shine or bear you. You fully drift in with your knee, they're just gonna back air you. So you're pretty much in a situation where you're kind of fucked, and there's not much you can really do. But the idea again, like I said, is to try to not go for the more risky option. Try to go for the more safer, which is maybe like the neutral jump into the up B, or at least if you're going to commit with it, just go in. Because at this situation, you're dead regardless of what you do. Like, even if you think you're able to make an you are dead. Like, in my mind, I look at this, no jump, you're below stage, you're dead. And high percent. If you're a little bit higher percent, then it's like, okay, certain thing, or lower percent, you can do certain things, but you're at a high enough percent that bear sends you off and you can just hold ledge. You can't even like recover with a falcon kick. You can't up B and make it on stage. You're just dead.
Yep.
And that's another thing too. Certain foxes, and depending on who they are, they like to wait till you're on stage, which gives you another chance to recover. Now, you probably know what this person likes to do, but it's better to try to recover onto stage and then to do a risky move to see what the kind of fox they are. Do they like to, do they like to wait? Do they like to hit you? Good foxes will hit you when you're off stage, but some don't. And then you can use that to your advantage. Let's see what you do with your invincibility.
That was a tech error.
Okay.
Yeah, the controller I was using has snapback.
What was this up air here? Was this an up air?
Yeah, it was an up air. I just assumed that they would like dash out, dash in. I like to do instant up air to try and like pick up Fox and Falco.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
It's much more difficult to use that effectively. Like instant up air can be a very good neutral tool, but it's way too easy to misuse it.
Yeah.
It's not
They're
out for
also not even at. They're also at like 6%.
6% too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about the reason why it's bad in this situation. I'm just trying to talk about instant up air in general. But yeah, of course, 6%. He's not even in your. He's not even close to your range. You're assuming he's going to come into your range. There's a lot wrong with that. But in general, speaking with instant up air, is it doesn't reach too far out, and it's not out for that long. Instant up air in general is amazing if they're above you. I kind of have this rule of thumb: if they're above you, up air is amazing. If they're in line with you, don't use it. It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It's not going to help you improve your neutral capabilities with aerials. And we can already tell that you're making an assumption. You're hoping, which is again the worst thing ever, is the hope. You're hoping that he's going to get into your space. It's not even like you're doing like kind of an encroaching knee or a nair, and you're covering a lot of space and cutting off his resources. You're standing in center stage. You're instant up airing, which is out for like in front of you for like 2 seconds or like 2 frames or whatever, like very minimal time, and you're not even in his space, right? You're not using your drift. You're not using your active hitboxes. You're hoping that he's going to run into your 2-frame active hitbox at that height. You know what I mean? So it's much better if you just like went for a raw knee here, just like short hop knee into him or short hop stomp. Like let's say for instance you think he's gonna, even if you think he's gonna go to platform, much better to like full like maybe cover this space here, right? Or one thing I like to do too is you can actually just, because you're Falcon and you have invincibility, a lot of times they'll just shield. You can just do empty full, like a short hop, jump towards them, empty hop, and then grab them. Because they're expecting you to hit, like they're expecting you to hit them. They're not expecting you to grab you. From the air, right? From the ground, it's a completely different story. If you run at them, then like, okay, he's running at me. But if you jump and they react to jumps, they're gonna shield. That's kind of a rule of thumb that a lot of foxes kind of live by against Falcon. It's like if you can react to him jumping, shield. Like because most of the time he's gonna be throwing out an aerial. Tech flub, stomp, nice reactions. I like that. That's good. See, he liked to act out of it. Be careful with this nair here because he definitely could have up tilted you. Let me see. But it wasn't bad. Again, it's not bad because, again, you know how this player likes to react. Well, for the most part, likes to how he likes to deal with certain situations. So this.
By the way, the player. I know I didn't say this before, but I just didn't know how because I didn't know if you were talking about Fox or the player is a she. But I assume when you say he that you're talking about Fox.
Yeah, I'm talking about Fox. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I assumed. I just figured I'd mention it.
It's easier if I talk about the character than the person behind the character, because then it gets.
Yeah, I noticed when you said the player, you'd say they, so I was like, okay, I don't think they're assuming anything.
Yeah. I say they for the player, and then he for the
the character.
The character, and like Puff, I say whatever. Peach, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they. It's not bad that you went for this because you know how they react to certain things, but just a rule of thumb in general, it's like if you don't have a lot of frame advantage, which I think you had a decent amount here, Nair is actually not bad, and Nair is also a good way to transition into doing like. Are you aware of what like the Rockman knee is, where you punish up tilt by like doing a?
Oh yeah.
So Nair,
like the jump backwards, fade in knee.
Kind of jump backwards, yeah. It's more so you're kind of just. You
do the animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a good way, if you're not comfortable doing that, a good way to kind of start incorporating that is using Nair instead of knee. Because Nair kind of works the same kind of way. And they both come out relatively the same time. Like second hit Nair comes out like frame 20 and knee comes out like frame 16 or something. So they're relatively similar timing. So you can punish in kind of the same way. So if you're not comfortable with doing that, Nair is a good way to kind of start to get into that. Like use it to kind of understand the timing and the spacing a little bit better, and it's a little bit easier to do too. For whatever reason, Nair just feels more comfortable to do that in that spot than knee. I don't know why. I was like that before, but I realized I'm like, this is a good way to practice this without having to necessarily go for the knee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if you just waited a second. If you just dashed in, dashed out, you could have caught him. Could have caught Fox, but... Let me see. Cover the up air. Not bad. Let me see again. Just go over the read with the up air. That's fine. I think here, instead of going for this kind of raw neutral read...
This was panic.
Oh, this is panic.
This was, yeah. It's like I missed the up air. Fox, Fox being the second fastest character in the game, like 0.1 speed slower than me. I assumed that after the up air, even though like it's got good frame data, whenever I do like landing L cancel up air, I'm afraid that I get approached here as soon as I fail my read. So I was just trying to do it to catch an approach.
You look how much space you have. You do not need to. You can dash all you want, and Fox can't do anything. Fox is stubby, and Fox has to run at you and get close to you in order to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason for him to like. There's no reason for you to panic for a Fox approaching you from this distance. Now, if they were like right here underneath the platform, like I don't know if you can see my mouse, but like right where.
Mm-hmm.
The
yeah,
hexagon
I can see your
train.
mouse.
Like if they were closer to you, then 100% I can understand maybe being more panicky. But the distance you have between each of you guys, there's no reason for you to panic for Fox approaching you or any character approaching you, because that's a large distance. The only character, like even Falcon, who's like probably the only character who could maybe launch at you faster than a Fox here and maybe hit you. Even that you can dash back.
Okay.
Right? Like you have this, and you have center stage. So you have to understand they're the ones who have limited resources. And you have all this real estate over here, which again, the one issue with Melee in my mind, because it's a 4x3 game, it's hard to know kind of what options you have with like dashing back. Because it's like right here, because you only have this area right here, you might not think to yourself, oh, I have all this room to dash back. Because it's like, because you don't see it. You're not kind of thinking, at least for myself, when I don't feel like I have that space, which sucks because it's like you have all this area, like you can't see it, but you have all this area to deal with. So, and Fox has, not saying that you should use all this area, but you have more resources to use instead of having to approach them.
Yeah, the camera definitely creates the illusion of us being much closer quarters than we are.
Than you actually are, exactly, right? And you also have to understand that you are center stage, so you have more control over the situation, and they have less resources. They're basically in the corner. Like if you think of FGC, they're in the corner. They're like against the wall, right? Not actually because run off stage, double jump on back air, but the point still stands that he has less resources than you do. And like I said, it gives the illusion, the 4x3 aspect ratio gives the illusion that you have less space. But you have to remember yourself. It's like if they're deep in the corner and you have center stage here, you have a lot of space. You just gotta like be more mindful or be more aware of that. Like don't be afraid to dash back is what I'm trying to get at. Because going for this like crazy up air, it's like it's not bad when you're like 4 games into a set and not 34 or 24 seconds into the first game of a set. You know what I mean? Like it's such a hard, again, there's 2 things to live by. Go for safer options and don't play in a disadvantage. Going for the safer options would be to, use your resources, use center stage and kind of, hit them if they say go to platform or kind of maybe, do a more like safe like knee here so you can cover in front of you instead of an up air which only really covers like right here and doesn't last for long, because there's no reason for you to do that. Like if you watch any Falcon player play, Wizzy, S2J, none, even like G0ds or even slightly worse like a Zio or a Rockman or anyone or Bab, they're not going to go for that up air. Now, like you might see Bab go for it because he's probably gonna try and edge cancel and go for some clip on Twitter. But in an actual 99% of the time, no one's doing that up air because it's not the right option, right?
There is something to be said that Bab was the reason I play Captain Falcon.
That's a good reason, honestly. That's a really good reason.
He just looked really cool.
The reason I kept playing was because of Yoppie and Lord. Those were and Silent Spectre. Those were like my main Falcons that I watched when I started playing like 7 years ago. But that's a good reason. I mean, that's a great reason to play the character. I think the Falcon and the Falcon community are probably like the best in my mind. Like Falcon's an amazing character to play, always fun, and the players who play them are also really dope too.
Yeah, the problem part of that is maybe it'll come out in these games. I don't know if it comes out. Is that whenever I'm bored, I start just moving around the platforms, incessantly.
I mean,
and then I get hit out of it.
I mean, I can understand that. I think you have to start just. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice CC. Hey, you went for a gentleman.
Yeah.
Better than a stomp. Delayed, but it's fine. It's better than the stomp. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I go for the second one because they're above me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And honestly, it baits them, and you get a crouch cancel off of it, which is actually that's perfectly fine. I was just trying to see the where he was.
Mm-hmm.
Good grab. Okay. Ooh. Oh. So honestly, not bad. You definitely could have. If you're ever scared you're not going to be able to get a knee, just up air them, send them off.
Yeah, I should have just done an up air.
Because it's very difficult here, or at least set yourself up to be able to cover more options. To be honest,
if I just did rising knee, I didn't do it as soon as soon as I jumped.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't do a rising knee. Because you definitely in like super double jump, like or instant double jump knee. I like that you shield drop up aired this. I like that a lot. Because grab you couldn't really follow up off of it. And up air is just not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this grab here. Because you catch him shielding, like you catch Fox, like that's really, really good here. If they
did not expect the DI.
Okay, so you can react to all DIs, and if they DI behind you, just F smash. I used to be in the kind of mindset where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do the knee because it looks better, but it's harder to hit. And the thing is, you want to minimize the difficulty minimize it, but still make it look cool. And honestly, F smash looks cooler than knee in my mind. You know what I mean? Like, so
I'm just trying to kill this guy. I'm gonna be real. I'm just trying to kill this guy.
But my point is like we all have an idea of how we like to play the game.
Yeah.
Do certain things. I'm just saying that I'm not saying that that's how you were thinking here, but I'm just saying in general. But if you can react to all of this. If they do like a DI behind, just F smash. If they DI like no DI, I just do knee. If they DI away, then I try and I can hit him with a knee or an up air, usually an up air, right? Depending on percentage and what port I am. And it's much easier than trying to do a bear. Even a bear is more difficult. That's more inputs. Think of it as an input in perspective of inputs. You have to jump. You have to press the C stick, and then you might have to L cancel after to get a follow up. If you just F smash, depending most of the time at the percent, they're just dead, and you don't actually have to do anything. You don't have to L cancel the F smash. You don't have to follow up off of it. It's literally you can spam that, so it's not even like you're having.
Yeah, I can just press forward on the C stick or back on the C stick.
Back on the C stick, and you get a kill, right? Or at least an edge guard in this situation. I feel like Fox would have lived. Fox definitely would have lived this, just because if they DI properly and you're on the left side and they're hitting to the right. But the point still stands that you could reduce the amount of complexity and the difficulty by just going for an F smash, and you can react to everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we call that we call it the win rose.
What's the win rose?
So what is the up throw F smash?
Oh, okay.
Even though it's like been around for like almost decades now, but we call it the win rose in Canada. So if you ever I always one way I also find it's funny to incorporate things is I'll see other people do things, and I'll remember it, and then I'll think, what does this person like to do in this situation, and then I'll do that, and then I'll call it whatever it is.
Okay.
Like I'll be like, oh, I'll up throw F smash, be like, oh, the win rose, and then that starts to build the pathway in my mind. It's weird. It's a weird thing to do.
No, it's kind of like a mind palace shit.
Yeah, a little bit. But I find that helps me incorporate things that like I'm not normally doing because I don't think of that mindset. But I'm like, well, if this person does it, then I'll more likely not do it, right? Like I'll be more inclined to do it, right?
Roll was a shield drop.
Thought so.
I tried to catch the approach with the back air. But I know that you can beat overshoot or like full hop nair with like retreating nair.
Yeah, you can retreating there. You can even like just dash away. Like you can use the platform. There's a lot you can do here.
Yeah, I could have dashed away and then like just like I could still use back air. I needed to come in later. I tried to challenge it directly instead of trying to beat the landing.
Beat the landing, exactly. You yeah. Good roll. Actually, probably could have gone a shield grab after that, but that's fine. And again, there's one takeaway here. Every time he's trying to approach you, you end up trying to meet him head on.
Yep.
Instead of realizing that you're not going to be able to actually beat him in time, which is something that was really difficult for me to learn. I remember, because you're like, you just want to hit them, right? Like they're coming in
easily,
and then
the worst part of the matchup.
Yeah,
for me.
And then you're reacting to them at too late of a time, which you shouldn't be reacting necessarily at that point, like to what they're doing to then throw out a move. Like you shouldn't be having in your mind, I'm gonna react to them approaching and then attack them. Because Falcon doesn't have that. You don't have that speed. No character really has that speed. But especially Falcon, all his moves come out frame 10 at the earliest, and even that's not like always going to be frame 10. That's instantly, and that's perfect, So you have to, if you're going to cut off Fox in place, you have to do it before his move is even out, which means you kind of have to know he's going to be here, or at least put it in a spacing where it's much more likely to hit him than throwing at a move when when they're full hopping at you. As well, another thing is, it's not the best thing to do you already know it's not the best thing to do to try to meet them head on. But if they're gonna full hop a lot, it's much easier to just avoid that than it is to deal with it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Currently, I'm very uncomfortable with dash dancing to react to approaches. I find that I dash dance and then I put myself in the corner and get hit in the corner. So I think it has dissuaded me from doing it, but I probably just need to practice it more so that I can use it as an option instead of just trying to collide with people.
Yeah, just practice. Like, again, another thing you can try to practice, but it'll be more difficult to practice, is just kind of evading things in general. Like not trying to attack people directly. Try to attack them when they're not attacking, and try to not attack them when they're attacking you. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And that it's harder to do that because, again, I want to hit him. I wanted to hit him here. You wanted to hit him here. It's just such a an obvious feeling. You know what I mean? It's like I just want to hit him here, but you can't. As Falcon, you can't. Most characters, you really can't. So you have to just kind of build it into your gameplay or practice rather, not attacking them when they're attacking you. Obviously, it's good to attack them when they're attacking you because as Falcon, you have the range. So if you put out your move sooner, you can capitalize off of that, and you'll definitely beat them. But if you're always trying to meet them or attack them when they're attacking you, you're doing it too late. It's only going to continue. So you need to. Again, it's much easier to remove something than it is to change it slightly, right? So it's easier just to remove that habit of attacking them when they're attacking you and just avoid it. And then, and then you kind of build in that other, like you said, that dash dance stuff that you'll be able to avoid just getting pushed into the corner and then getting hit in the corner, right? And then you get pushed off here. Could have up-aired. You're gonna get pushed off.
Yeah, I don't
here.
do that enough.
Yeah, that's something that you just practice the movement, try and have like Uncle Punch. I don't know how you can set up save states, but just have it such that this situation happens again, and then just pressing up air. Just
Okay.
You don't have to practice it for a while. Just practice it like for 10 times, and then see how it works. And then next time it happens, it's just one of those things you just kind of start doing. But the fact that
This was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you have to just kind of be aware that this has happened before, and then you'll start to recognize it more often, and eventually you'll incorporate it. But
I have recognized this recently. This was before I watched Wizrob's run at main stage recently, and I watched how often he did it against he did it against Axe, and he did it against, because Axe would like nair him off of the platform a lot, like whenever he was like just holding his shield, and he'd get instant up air into like a knee punish. And so that's when I recognized that I don't do it enough. I'm aware of it. It's just not implemented yet.
And that's the first step, and that's good that you. That's exactly what you need to do. Besides that, the gentleman. Let me see. I can see why you did that. You were like, he's close to me. He's in front of me. Let me gentleman him. But the thing is, it's like you guys were still moving, so then end up being behind you, and you probably even like ASDI'd it that way too. So it's just unfortunate. Get bared, missed the tech. Fine. Up air off ledge. I can bet money you're probably not the most confident off ledge.
I'm not confident, but I can ledge dash pretty confidently.
Okay. Sometimes it's best to just wait a second to see kind of how they like to execution test.
I was impatient, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to pick them up off the lip of the. It was a bad reaction. Like you said, I'm hitting them where they are instead of where they're going to be, and I was like, oh look, he's at the lip of the platform. I can probably reach that.
You can reach that, yeah, and then he dashes away. And then you shield and you try to act out in disadvantage.
Classic nair out of shield moment.
Classic nair, yeah. Decent air dodge, tech, yeah, that's fine.
I try to immediately run in after I tech.
But see, he kind of waits a little bit longer, right? Like, hell, you could have even just double jumped onto stage, or like, I mean, if you were closer, you probably could have, like, you couldn't hear because you would have had to gone to ledge. But if you were like closer here for, hypothetically, let's say, you probably could have just double jumped on stage, and you probably wouldn't have even bared you, or at least he would have bared you late like he did here. I mean, the nair's not horrible because you catch them right. Let's see what you do. Down tilt to cover the side B, but yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Would you have reacted in time anyways to
what?
To hit the side B?
I don't know. The thought process was to catch the side B, but
okay. Well, no, as long as that was the process, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then
that was the thought process.
And that's perfectly fine. You definitely would have gotten hit by shallow up B here.
Yeah.
100%, because you down tilted the time for side B, and then you see where he is. That would have been more shallow, and you would have had to like instant shield, which you would have wave dash back, in which case you would have just gotten hit. You have to actually react to side B happening instead of just preemptively doing it, even though you probably might be actually trying to react to it, but it almost seemed like you were just trying to read that side B was going to happen and then down tilt, in which case...
Can I react with down? Well, if they side beat a ledge. I can't hit them with jab. I don't think I have enough time to react with down tilt, do I?
You can react. It depends on the spacing. You can react to the sound of side B, but depending on their spacing, I don't know if down tilt comes out fast enough at certain spacings. But I definitely believe at that at that distance, you could have reacted to side B and down tilted in time in order to catch them.
Okay.
That being said, I usually just do F tilt because it's easier. And also just because that's like kind of the Ganon part of me. Also because of the fact that you can act out of forward tilt faster than you can out of down tilt. However, down tilt does allow you to get a better follow-up off it usually.
Yeah, it gives me knee.
And usually gets you knee or at least an up air. So it really depends. I usually do F tilt just because people are better at sweet spotting. And if I do catch them, if I don't catch them, then I can at least shield, so I'm not in a horrible position. Whereas if I down tilt, a lot of times they'll ledge dash and I'm kind of screwed. That being said, it worked out for you. And you got the operator. That was nice.
I can't control myself, dude. I actually can't.
If you're gonna do that, do it sooner so that you land on like top platform instead of doing it where they're just gonna nair you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can usually
That's
just run
definitely
through.
an obvious one.
Yeah, like when they have invincibility, you can take ledge. You can, dash through them or full hop to avoid them. Like, you got to make it difficult for them to hit you. Obviously, like you said, you just kind of ape out and start doing, like wave lands and whatnot. The only thing I can say is you just gotta tell yourself to stop. You just gotta be okay. No more aping. I just gotta stop, or at least do it in a better way.
Mm-hmm. Unintentional spot dodge.
What was that supposed to be? Stomp?
I'm pretty sure I meant to turn around grab, and I think I held that. I have no idea. I have no idea what the thought process there is. Maybe I panic buffered spot dodge like with C stick.
I find a lot of times it's easier. I mean, they're at 0%, but a lot of times it's easier to do turnaround gentleman than it is to do a turnaround grab.
Okay.
Again, that's also the Ganon in me.
Yeah,
Jab, but honestly, if you're gonna it's hard to get turnaround grab, like a smash turn grab there. So it's just much easier for me to do like a pivot, or not pivot jab, but turnaround jab. Even though they're
0%. Yeah.
Because you're gonna get punished here anyways, or you could have rolled forward, but even then you're kind of in a bad spot because they could have punished that too. It's rough. Mm-hmm. You're in a bad spot. That's all I'm basically gonna get at. Spot dodge actually wasn't bad if they had thrown out, if they hadn't messed up.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they hadn't messed up this bear, or if they tried to ledge dash or something, maybe would have been okay. But honestly, such a bad position. And that turnaround grab would have been good, but it's very difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
Could have gone a shield grab there off their miss grab. But again, that's hard to tell because you definitely thought you were going to get grabbed off that jab.
Yeah.
You jump out and they jab you. Good dash grab. Miss tech in place. We've all been there. The way to tech chase, reaction tech chase, grab is, I think there's a pace bin somewhere that talks about how Plup reacts to it. I wonder if I can.
That would be great, because I've been trying to figure it out myself, and I have actually no idea how to react to tech. I don't know what my reaction point is when I look at them. I can react to tech roll to the left, tech roll to the right, all the neutral ones. Like, I'm not saying I'll always get them, but I can react. I have the capability of reacting to it. But tech in place is just it's fucking hard. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at, because his animation is so janky. I've looked at it 1,000 times, and he stands up immediately.
1 second.
Remember I talked about that with Cray, because he was trying to figure out how to punish all Fox techs on a platform with Shine, and tech in place just feels so impossible.
Tech in place is very difficult to deal with. The idea is to look for tech in place as kind of the first thing on your mind, and then everything else kind of follows. I think that was the gist of it, but that's kind of a butchered way of describing it. Let me see if I can find it. You're in the Falcon Discord, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There it is. Avoid tech in place shine. All right, I'm going to change my screen real quick so we can look at this.
Okay.
Let me know if you can see this properly.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, let me change. Screen 1 isn't showing properly. There we go. That's not it.
I currently see the paste bin.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to change the stream as well.
I gotcha.
So Plup just grabs in place if he's late on reaction tech chasing because he knows the frame he has to react by, and that means he avoids almost getting tech in place shined. So essentially, it's if you're late, you just go for tech in place. If you have enough time, then you have way more time to react. Basically, pick a time by the time you have to choose an option, which is a weird thing to say, but essentially that's the gist of it. You have to choose an option by a latest time.
Okay.
It's not a replacement for reaction, but it ends up making that you don't get killed from wake up shine, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea of it is, you throw a fox and you're not reacting and he's 30%. You could just dash knee, roll towards ledge, if you're late. But essentially the idea is that even with a slow reaction time on the grab, you should never get shined because you always should have covered something by the last frame it was guaranteed. So basically, you might get 4 to 5 reactions in a row and then feel slow and do this. But what it really means is that instead of it being that you get wake up shine because you're late on a reaction, you at worst reset neutral. So,
Okay.
But the hard part is recognizing that you're slow to the situation.
That does seem pretty difficult.
It's very difficult, but it's what Plup does. It's what Mutsa King does. It's what Drug Fox does. It's kind of what I do actually.
Okay.
But it's definitely not an easy thing to do per se. And it's it's essentially I guess right. It's like a read. But the thing is, it's one of those things that kind of alleviates the mental strain when you're late, or just the mental strain in general, not when you're late, the mental strain in general for tech chasing. Because it feels much worse to get wake up shined than it does to miss a grab. And so the more you can mitigate the possibility of getting wake up shine, the better it'll be for your own mentality and your stamina.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's also, yeah, and I think this is it right here. So basically, you can see it this way: you have to learn the timing for grabbing tech in place, guaranteed to do this properly. So what they'll have to do is perfect their reaction mechanics first and become faster and faster and practice till they intuitively understand when they're late, which is the hard part. That's the hardest part about it. Dealing with tech in place. It's like, yeah, this is a great way to deal, a great way. Oh, I'm just going to read when I know I'm late. But it's like, how do I know I'm late?
Yeah.
And that's kind of just the things that you have to just practice. You just have to grind out an Uncle Punch, and eventually you'll start to understand. It's like, okay, I missed my dash, or I was slow here, or whatever. And then you kind of see the spacing and whatever, and eventually get to the point where you start to understand when to do it. But the thing is that I wouldn't necessarily try. I probably shouldn't have brought this up, but it's probably not the best thing to try to do this yet until you get a better,
Yeah, I think this is a little far out for me.
It's a little bit far out. Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little bit far out now that I think about it.
It's good to know that it exists for when that time comes, but right now I think I have larger glaring problems
You
that
definitely
should probably be addressed.
definitely need to probably sit down on Uncle Punch every day for 30 minutes and practice your reactions, then practice doing the read off of perfectly reacted being late. But it's also something to just keep in the back of your mind. I think that's why I wanted to bring it up. At least understand that you don't have to be perfect, at least. But at least try to understand kind of the mechanics behind reaction tech chasing with grab, instead of just blindly doing it oh, I got to react. Understand why and kind of why you were maybe late, and or at least keep in the back of your mind at least, right? It's something I wish I kind of knew about earlier, because I was definitely looking at Wizzy and I'm like, man, he just reacts to everything, and same with Mutsa King or Plup, and then once I realized it's like, oh. They also have this trick up their sleeve. It kind of helped me out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my other question is, when you do this dash wave dash into grab, you're just doing a regular grab. You're not doing a JC grab, correct?
I am doing a JC grab.
Okay, you can't do a JC grab. If you
Yeah.
you can, but you reduce the amount of time, like your grab comes out later, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, your grab comes out later, meaning that you have less. Like there's so many times where I've been off by like a frame because I JC grabbed instead of just normal grabbing, and
I don't
then
think I ever normal grab anymore. I think I've just JC grabbed, but I've never thought about it
it
in
it,
that
it
sense.
feels very natural to do JC grab here. Just to get again, like there's very few times you do grab with Z in like without JC grabbing, right? Like
Hmm.
we shield grab. Most people shield grab with A, right?
Yeah.
But like very few times we just use only the Z button for grab. So it's one of those things that you kind of have to, and thankfully you're early enough that you can kind of get over it. Because again, I do JC grab off tech chase a lot of times when I shouldn't. But it's something you have the ability to kind of adjust to now and not get into the habit of it too much.
Yeah.
I mean, you already are, but you can definitely get over it, hopefully.
Well, it's nice to be aware. I've just never even thought about it. But yeah, it makes sense that you'd be later considering you're waiting for your jump squat. So like you'd at the minimum be a frame late.
Yeah, at the minimum, yeah, exactly. At the minimum frame rate, at maximum like 3 frames, which is like
Yeah.
now your grab's coming out frame 10 instead of frame 7.
Yeah, that's terrible. I'm basically Zelda at that
You're
point.
basically exactly right, and that potentially
Yeah,
what
I would
could
have
have.
grabbed.
I think you actually would have grabbed there. I'm not even joking. Like
Yeah.
which is why a lot of times you'll like see Wizzy and you'll be like, man, like it looked like he would have gone shine there, but then he doesn't. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but I've noticed that myself. I was like, man, like
Yeah, I've seen it. I've heard it. I've heard it.
right, and you're like, what the heck? And then it's like, oh, it's like it's because of the fact he doesn't JC, jump cancel his grabs.
Yeah.
Nice nair in place, not bad after this because it was an awkward situation. Oh,
Fastball.
yeah, the fastball. And then you get punished for it. Yeah, so that knee is something you have to practice throwing out and just waiting till it comes out and then fast falling. Nair is the same thing. You got to apply kind of the same logic with nair as you do with knee for fast falling. Because knee, because it's like it's a kind of move where you feel like you can just throw it out and fast fall much sooner than it actually is out. And so you kind of have to understand, or you got to start to work or practice just kneeing and then waiting until the knee sound comes out and then fast falling.
Okay.
And like getting used to that.
Actually, something I've done with Stomp, but like I have trouble going into a game and then implementing. So I have thought about these things and like practice like I do the Stomp. I wait till like I even like hear the connect sound, and then I fall through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to do that when I'm actually trying to hit somebody and then get a punish out of it. But I guess I just keep trying.
Just keep trying. Yeah, you can also just try not fast falling at all.
Yeah, it's definitely. I definitely need to just do these like multiple like remove one element exercises
And
and
eventually,
try and yeah.
it'll just kind of click. And some things like I said before, it's better to do it all separately. Some things you can do together, but it's much easier to just spend 10 games doing something with nothing than it is to spend 20 games doing two things at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, 10 games is some arbitrary amount I chose. It's not like, oh, you should do 10 games is the proper amount.
Yeah.
It's just an idea that, you need to spend X amount of time practicing it and enough exposure such that, you start to kind of develop something new. I also recommend like doing it at the beginning of like the day when you haven't played yet. Like doing these kind of restrictive sessions.
So it sets the pace for the rest of the day.
Exactly, right?
Okay.
Instead of like doing it at the end of the night. I mean, you could do it at the end of the night, but the thing is I feel like you're going to build your habits more when you're like fresh than it is when you're already been playing. You already have created a lot of, you're already burnt out, right? You're already fatigued.
That makes sense.
That actually leads me to one more thing, in that the quality. Now, this is an obvious statement, but the quality of play is more important than the quantity, like anything in life. Now, how that translates into melee and determining what is quality of play, a good rule of thumb is to play melee only when you're having fun. When you're like not in a tournament. Tournament's a little bit different because you're obviously there to compete, and even then in tournament you should still be trying to have fun. But obviously sometimes you won't be in it as much as you usually are, but you still need to compete. So it's a different story. But let's say you're just playing friendlies or you're playing unranked or whatever. You should only really be playing melee if you're having fun. If you're not having fun, then you should stop playing. Because when you're not having fun and you're playing melee, you're gonna play worse, and you're gonna actually start to do options. You're gonna autopilot more, and you're gonna start to do bad options.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that because like I don't just play melee because it's fun. Like I play melee because I want to be good at it, and I feel like it's important to have discipline even whenever you're not inherently enjoying something. I don't enjoy like sitting down and like reviewing VODs and stuff, but I do it because I want to improve. So I feel like I understand like not playing when I'm upset, but I think that you can play if you're like in a neutral mood, if you're still like attempting to
Well, a
improve
neutral
something.
mood isn't. That's true. Neutral mood though isn't you not having fun though,
I suppose.
right? Like I guess that's a different state, but you're still getting some satisfaction out of it. You know what I mean? My whole point is that you shouldn't be playing the game if you're in a state of mind where you're upset, like you said, or you're frustrated or whatever, and you're not. It's just a waste of time. Which is, it sounds like like an obvious statement, but a lot of people don't actually take that to heart, and they don't actually think about, okay, am I actually enjoying or at least getting something out of me playing? If you're not getting anything out of you playing, it doesn't matter how disciplined you are. You're wasting your time. You're like straight
Yeah.
up, you are wasting your time. There's no point in you playing if you're just going to spend your time just not getting anything out of it. Now, yeah, of course, being disciplined is extremely important in and out of melee, but you have to understand that the quality of your play or your quality of your practice is more important than you most of the time being disciplined at something. In my honest opinion, proper practice makes perfect. If you're playing and you're not properly playing, you're not going to get proper practice, and you're actually going to be making yourself worse at the game. Because 9 times out of 10. Now, that's an arbitrary 9 times out of 10, but majority of the time, you're going to be building poor habits. It's just that's just how it is. That's just how typically melee is as a game. And that's how, that's how human nature is. Now, that being said, if you're in a neutral mood, like, you said, you're still probably going to get something out of it, which in that case is fine. But humans in general usually are better when we're enjoying something and we're passionate about it and we're having a good time. You can ask any top player. Remember, I talked to SFAT, I talked to Plup. They all said, like, I play this game to have fun, and I improve the best when I'm having fun. That's their words, not mine. And I corroborated that, but that's straight from the source of top 10 players, right? Now, I had a train of thought too, and then I lost it. I was going to get to distributed practice. With melee, it's better to have quality snippets of like 30 minutes or an hour a day play distributed like throughout the week than it is to play for 3 hours in one day, like every other day or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's better to have small snippets of quality play when you're enjoying the game and, working on specific things than it is for you to spend, however much time. And eventually, because at least for myself in particular, and a lot of my friends, we find that if I'm playing for like 2 hours straight, and even if I take breaks or like 3 hours and I take breaks here and there, I still find that near like hour and a half in, I'm not playing as proper as I was when I was playing in the beginning. I'm not as
You definitely
fresh.
go into autopilot.
Start to go into autopilot, right? And now it's not that you're necessarily not enjoying it, but you're also not like as enthused or having as much fun. So I guess that comes down to the neutral kind of where, yeah, you're still improving, but at a certain point it starts to become where you're kind of neutral, but like that neutral isn't actually helping you improve. And you start to get into autopilot mode where you're not actually enjoying the game. You're bored. And then you start thinking about other things. And then that's when your bad habits start to form. So yes, you're right to it. You're right when you say, oh, you could be playing the game in a neutral mood. It's not, black or white. but it's much easier to set that kind of black or white where you ask yourself, am I really enjoying this? And if you're not really like that enthused, or if you're, kind of whatever, then don't play. Now, that being said, don't ask yourself that question before you play. Ask yourself that question while you've played like 3 or 4 games. Because then you can kind of get an understanding of what you're actually feeling. Because there's a lot of times you could ask yourself, do I really want to play? And you're like, nah, not really. But then you end up playing, you're like, oh man, like I actually want to play a lot. It's kind of like when you're like, you're not hungry and then you take a bite of food and you're like, holy shit, I'm way more hungry than I realized. You know what I mean? Like kind of that idea. But again, that being said, like these are all things that I've found have helped me improve, have been told by good players that this is how they improved. You don't necessarily have to follow it. If you find yourself, like everyone has different levels of stamina. If you find yourself being able to play 3 hours straight and you find that's very helps you and it's very influential to your growth, go for it by all means. But typically it's much easier not much easier, but usually on average, I've found with a lot of people I've talked to, now that's anecdotally speaking, more likely than not, most people have better improvement when they spend time playing the game, when they're enjoying it, and in smaller dosage.
I can definitely adjust it based on how quickly I get burnt out. I understand the concept.
The concept, yeah. Again, majority of the things today is it's all about how you make it. I'm not going to tell you you have to do it like this, except if it's like a specific melee technique. If it's anything outside of the game that deals with your own mentality or your own habits or your own personality, that's something that you obviously have to take with a grain of salt. And I'm glad you challenged me on that, because that actually makes me think about it more. Because I used to kind of I didn't think of it exactly as a black and white, but I definitely thought of it more of a black and white than that kind of neutral state that you included there. And I'm glad you did, because now I'm thinking about it right now, and I can adjust my my train of thought next time I come across this. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not just a mindless zombie that is going to,
you're definitely
fully accept everything.
You're definitely one of my more what's the word? Listened students. And by listened, I mean you're definitely involved in there. All my students are there, but you're very inquisitive about certain things, and you're not you're not just yeah. Because I've had times where people go, yeah, and it's hard for me to kind of play off of that, without.
Yeah.
I can't build. Off
Sorry,
of
I didn't mean to say yeah.
No. That was a appropriate yeah, but I it's definitely an enjoyable lesson so far.
Just as an overview, the core things that I need to practice, other than like the general things that we've discussed, I should probably try to go and remove certain things from my gameplay one at a time. And the 3 major ones that we've talked about so far are crouch canceling without immediately trying to punish, to remove the habit of like trying to do like a laggy punish or anything really, like trying to just pay more attention to what the crouch cancel does. Trying to intentionally overshoot, and then also trying to not fast fall all of my aerials so that I don't run into these scenarios where I just get instant aerials without the hitbox coming out, like trying to pay attention to like when they actually come out before dropping them.
Yeah, exactly. And it also kind of gets you exposed to just no fast fall aerials in general, which are extremely valuable. No fast
and dash dancing.
And dash dancing, yeah. It's funny. It just came across my mind that you talked about. I think I asked you what your game plan was originally at the start of the session, and you talked about how like, I'm looking for Lord Stomp. And the funniest part, now that being said, it's only been the first game and 1 minute and 10 seconds, but you haven't Lord Stomp once.
Yeah, I don't normally that's what I go for, but it's also possible, like I didn't watch these games again before I showed them. These were just my tournament games that I thought would like be the most like beneficial, since it's like this is like when stakes for me are like technically high, and so like this is going to be like raw gameplay that's important, right? Because I don't care about my gameplay whenever I'm playing my friend and it doesn't matter. No, like they are my friend, but like this is how I'm going to play when I'm working for something.
Exactly. The pressure's on. This is what you're focused on. This and only this. This is you in a pressured state where specific things like your habits and your abilities come to surface, right? Your true abilities under pressure, right? Because amount of times have I heard people say, "Oh, I can do this in practice," so like, and I'm like, okay, then why'd this happen here? Oh, technical flub, and I'm like, well, then why? Oh, I was panicked, and it's like, well, this is how your true state is. In my mind, in a panic state, that's your true state, or in a pressure like tournament setting, this is your true
Yeah.
gameplay.
At least for now.
At least
This
for
is
now,
where I'm going to
exactly.
be right now.
Right now in this specific in this time, this is how you are. At least in this time and when the set happened, and kind of generally speaking, how you are at the moment. Obviously, if you played another tournament set right now, different situations will happen, different things might happen, but most of the majority of habits and specific flaws that you have will come out again until you start to actively work on them, right? But yeah, those are the main things for sure. What else was I gonna say? I think the majority of that's definitely beneficial. You have decent tech skill. It's just
My decision making's terrible.
your decision making.
It,
It definitely needs work, but you have the tech skill, and I like how you want to play at them, and you're not standing in place Falcon. I hate standing in place Falcon. I don't like, you know, I don't like Lord Stomp, even though I used to love Lord, and I still do. I just don't like Lord Stomp. I don't like these like bears in place. Like you play at the player, which is nice. Like if we watched like
I know we're not gonna get to it in this session, but you'd be really disappointed in the Dreamland game.
yeah,
You were talking about how much you don't like bear in place, and that is I think that's a storyline in that game.
like it's a good option, but the thing is that it's an overused. Like I said, it's a comfort option. It's an overused option for a lot of Falcons. Oh.
Yeah, so this scenario, I also know what I need to do here, and I just didn't do it. I could have gone off with like shield stop knee.
Yeah, shield stop knee.
Shield stop, yeah, shield stop like rising knee fall and then fall with it. But I went to the back air because I was too late with the thought process. I didn't think about it fast enough.
How do you break this? This is kind of harder to break, this habit. Because it's not as easy to just say, don't do this. Because it's...
I know what the correct answer though is. I know it's knee, and I will. That's another thing I just have to implement.
What you need to do here, instead of playing like a restrictive like session, go on Uncle Punch and down throw a Fox, and just, even if it's not the right DI or the right percent, like have around the same percent, but just practice that knee.
Oh, muscle memory grind.
Muscle memory grind. Yeah, that's the only.
Okay.
It's the only way, because then you'll eventually start to just do it. Instinctively.
I can do that.
That'll help you. That'll help you kind of implement it. Because there's no way for you to like stop doing this and then doing X. Like stop X and do Y. It doesn't work like that. You have to just grind the muscle memory, and then it'll come out. The instant upper, but the thing is, you see how you got absolutely nothing off of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like it was amazing. Like it looks sick, right? Like, oh man, like Falcon's doing a fucking flippy dip and he hit the Fox in the face, slid off and nothing happened. It's like, yeah, you have the ability to execution test, but besides that, you don't really have anything off of that. If you got like a knee instead or like a nair, that could lead to something. Like if you nair instead, like that could have led to something much more.
Okay, I'm convinced.
Right?
I'm convinced.
You're convinced? Do you understand now how instant up air is just not the neutral option? Okay.
I think that was good enough to show me that. I think that was such a terrible. It did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. It's way better against Falco though. Like it is good against. I'm a firm believer of that.
It's better versus Falco only because it's easier to hit him there.
Yeah.
But even that it's better to just nair.
Maybe not in that scenario because he can still slide off to the. It'll be the same.
It'll be the same, right? But like Falco, yeah, I find Falco's better if it's like you're doing an instant up air to shield or something. It's better than it is to do, in like raw neutral.
Doing it in neutral.
Neutral is just not out long enough. And Falcon, he doesn't have fast moves. His moves are out for a while. And he drifts a lot. So you want to be able to have the active hitboxes that you can hit a lot of range instead of the short hitboxes or like the not long-lasting hitboxes like up air that don't reach as far.
Okay.
And like I said, up air is amazing if they're above you, but when they're in front of you, it's out for like 2 frames in front of you in order for you to hit them. Like it's not enough for you to actually pressure or cover a lot of range, right? Because your whole goal is to hit them where they're gonna be, not where they are. And instant up air kind of works as a move as where they are. It almost feels like, you know what I mean? Unless they're running into you, which is like, oh, I'm gonna think they're gonna run into me when, you know, when I'm in invincibility, which is like, people do that, but even then, it's just a very, very, very tight timing. It's hard to hit. What was I gonna say? I think it was after this. When people are on the ledge, your goal is to execution test them. Now, I hope you're familiar with that term, execution test.
Yeah. I'm familiar with execution test. Like make that like they're like put them in a scenario where they're forced to do something technically demanding, or they die,
Exactly.
or they get punished or whatever the result is.
Exactly. Yeah. In this case, for Fox, the range you want to be is right here. You don't want to ever like. I know you're trying to hit him recovering or refreshing ledge, but that's way. It's putting yourself in a bad position where he can easily ledge dash on, and now you're in a bad spot. Now you're facing like it's just not more likely not going to hit them. So the idea with execution testing is you want to be at a range where after Fox is done his ledge dash, you can hit them. And the thing is, you can't react to them ledge dashing. You have to read the timing of their ledge dash, which is not that hard because it's basically kind of the same timing on refresh because of the fact that
they want as much glint as possible.
Exactly. So thankfully, it's not like it's not super hard to time. Like you react kind of to the timing. It's not really react, but you kind of go with the tempo of refreshing, and then you execution test them, right? And the easiest way to execution test them is with bear or like a drift back knee. I find, and Wizzy does that a lot. He'll stand in the spot and then they'll ledge dash, and then he'll drift back knee, and even if they do a frame perfect glint ledge dash in like a full drift nair, his knee still beats him. Like you're not gonna play versus.
So stand at the line in the stage.
Yeah, like right around here is a better spot than trying to meet them here, because they can fully invincibly ledge dash up tilt you, and you're fucked. You're screwed. And even if they don't do that, now you're facing towards here or whatever it is, or in this situation, where you got to pivot nair because they didn't do an amazing ledge dash. Like did an atta, like barely went anywhere. So your pivot nair worked perfectly fine, but it's also way more difficult. And not only that, but your pivot nair didn't lead to anything.
Yeah.
Even if you
I don't know why I run away.
And then you probably didn't expect yourself to get that nair.
Yeah.
Like you would have had to done a very tight knee there, or like a super low up air somehow. Like it wasn't gonna lead to much. Whereas like a bear would have probably led to like a knee, or at least an up air, or a knee would have led to probably them dying, whereas an air not so much. And then you go out there with the knee. What happened here? I looked away for a sec. Oh my god! You tried to catch him double jumping?
Yeah.
Oh my god! You crazy motherfucker! Holy crap!
I mean, I had the read. It just bad. I just suck.
Well, that's extremely risky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got super lucky. Tried to shine you. The read, true.
It was misinput.
What, the knee? Already
no,
the invincibility.
The up smash. The up smash.
Let me see. Tried to just like wave land off.
Just tried to fall off up air, yeah.
Okay. And you're obviously aware if you're wave landing towards the ledge and not with your back, like
yeah, and you edge. I fall off and I can up air, but if I'm facing towards it, then I cannot, and I do the tumble.
Yeah, no, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more so you have to hold it to get past the teeter.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You can't like if you're facing the other way, no matter what, as long as you have enough momentum, you'll go.
Yeah, I just messed up.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know. I just making sure you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're having fun. You got out of it perfectly fine though.
Definitely lucky.
Oh yeah, and this is another thing you gotta look for. Foxes who most foxes who aren't, no offense, aren't that good at the game, they'll just run off platform like they do right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have easily grabbed that. You could have, you know.
Like they got stuck in their movement. They do like an accident, like they tried to fall through the platform.
And then they didn't.
Yeah.
I think they actually might have still been in invincibility, so there's really nothing much you could have done. Let me see. Yeah, they were, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Alright, and this is what I was trying to get at before with... So this nair right here is a dangerous nair. You're trying to encroach on their space, but you're not doing it enough. You're not cutting off enough of their options in order for it to potentially hit them. It's better to, if you're going to do an approaching move, it's better to fully or do more drift such that you can cut them off enough, or do an aerial in place so that you can then bait them in and then maybe go in for like a whizzy knee where like he does like an aerial in place and then he'll like dash in knee, right? But the thing is, this nair right here, you're not covering enough space in order for it to be an effective pressure tool, if that makes any sense. You have to drift more and actually encroach in their space more, which again...
Yeah, I didn't change the amount of space that they have available to them with this nair. They have the same amount of space that they had putting themselves in the corner.
Pretty much.
So it didn't
like,
close off anything.
I wouldn't say they have the same. They have less space, but it's still more than enough real estate to deal with the situation at hand, right? In which case, you know, they have the ability to easily dash dance and then whiff punish you afterwards, or not, or they have way more control than they should have, if you're going to be encroaching in their space like you're doing. So in this case, and again, it's one of those things where you might feel not safe doing it, but let me tell you that you're more than capable of just nairing in, and you'll probably be fine. If not, if you don't feel like you're safe, then do a knee. Because if you're already making that risk of going into their space, you don't have an out here. It's not like you're doing an undershot nair enough that you can dash back and then catch them potentially trying to whiff punish you. You're far enough into their space now that you have the same options as if you had overshot and actually tried to hit them where they were, or where they're going to be, instead of where they were. Does that make any sense? So
yeah, that does make sense.
The risk is the same, and the reward is much worse, and you're actually giving yourself less of a chance of dealing with the subsequent option that the fox is going to choose, because you're giving them more options, which sucks.
I definitely noticed that they're playing like a whiff, and like they wait for my whiff to punish, like kind of game plan, and I'm just kind of falling into it. Since I'm not overshooting like pretty much ever. And I'm trying to like punish their whiffs, but they're not like really approaching me until I fuck up. Yeah. And so I'm just playing into their game plan by not like mixing up my approaches. It's always like just very, like, I guess like a good way to put it would be honest. Like I don't plan on going past them. It's always like I'm going to attack them where they are. Exactly.
And that was actually going to lead me back into why I don't like Lord Stomp or defensive options like Lord Stomp, because if you develop that option too early, you never end up developing overshooting as effectively as you should, or at least it takes you considerably longer than it should. The best way to learn melee is try to be as offensive as possible while doing it in a smart way, because being defensive is more intuitive for most people than it is to be offensive. At least for me and for a lot of people I know, it's much easier to be defensive properly. And by properly, I mean it, like get more out of it than it is to be offensive properly and get more out of it. And so that's why people more so gravitate toward like Lord Stomp or bearing in place or whatever, right? But honestly, how you're playing, if you added in a little bit more overshooting and fix the couple of bad habits here and there, you actually have a decent and you have a little bit better punish. You actually have a decent play versus Fox.
Okay.
That's
good to hear that I'm not completely hopeless.
No, I don't mind. Like you crouch cancel.
That grab is bullshit.
That grab's amazing. Right there, butt grab, amazing. Like it's just like you get enough openings, but you don't capitalize on them. Which again is just you got to just practice reaction tech chase a bit more.
Mm.
And honestly, it doesn't take much. It just takes like 20 minutes every day, 30 minutes at most. You just practice like before you go to bed, and just try your best like to work on reacting properly. And as time goes on, it just starts to get a little bit better and a little bit better, and your muscle memory gets a little bit better. If you really feel like your muscle memory and your habits are like way too ingrained, like you're just at a point where, and no matter what you do, and it's been weeks, and you're just kind of like plateauing extremely hard, take a break. Take like a week break, 2 week break, 3 week, like even a month
Really
break.
hard.
It's very hard.
I love Melee.
I know. I love Melee too, and it's extremely difficult. But you have to like sometimes breaks are really important. The best I've ever done for improvement wise was after larger breaks. I remember I say this story a lot, but I remember it was GOML just before GOML 2018. I took like a month, almost month and a half break before playing, before May of 2019, and then I played with Soonsafe for like 3 weeks, and I improved so much from that session. It was unreal. And only because of the fact I took a break before and I had such an open mind that I just absorbed all this information. All my habits were reset. My tech skill might have not been there necessarily, but my ability to get back was much like I was able to overcome certain tech skill plateaus because I didn't have the bad muscle memory holding me back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that into consideration for sure.
It's definitely something that, you don't have to do often. Like you don't have to take a break too often, but it's definitely beneficial if you're ever finding yourself really plateauing and you're like, man, I just can't get anywhere, or I feel like burnt out or whatever, right? It's always good to just have that in the back of your mind. Like, I'm just going to take a break, come back to it, do other things. Melee will always be there. We're at a time now where Melee is not going to die anytime soon. I mean,
yeah.
I was around when people thought Melee was going to die back in like what was it? Like 2017 or something? I forget when it was, but people were like, Melee's dying. It's whatever. I think, or it might even have been around like 2016-ish. No, it's 2017, 2018. People were like, this game's not going to last that much longer. Armada's retiring, this and that. And then look at the game now. Slippy and everything's just unreal. Mm-hmm. Tournaments all the time. So the scene always going to be here. We went on a lot of tangents there. I don't remember exactly what. I'll be honest.
We're talking about overshooting.
Overshooting, right.
Yeah.
I think that led me into just overall your ideas. Like and then you're getting stuck. And that's the thing again, it's hard because the person has better tech skill, better
They're
ideas.
more consistent.
They're more consistent.
They are so much more consistent.
Which is it's difficult for me to be like difficult for me to not just say you need better tech skill. You know what I mean? Like it's really difficult for me to not just be like, oh, you need better tech skill, you need better this. Like we went over specific habits that majority of them, if you were to improve on, you would see an you'd see an overall gameplay improvement. But you definitely need to spend the time. I mean, it's a tournament, but you definitely need to spend the time and improve your punishes a bit more. Reaction tech chases, your hit confirms off of things, right? Like that one. I still remember that one stomp on the right side where you missed it, but then you were able to get that shield drop up there, which was really good. Stuff like that, good shield drop, stuff like that. Those kind of situations where it's awkward, like right here. In my mind, I already know I'm getting a forward tilt or I'm getting a grab.
Okay.
Right, like he's at they're at a percent where, I know I can't get a knee, I can't get like a easy bear. I'm just gonna forward tilt or I'm gonna grab. Grab's probably a better idea just because you have more ability to, you can get proper punish off of it, like a full reactionary punish. Forward tilt, they might be able to DI away, tech away, and you might not be able to get a punish off of it. But you at least get something. In this case, you try to go for a bear and you miss it. So it's those kind of those situations that you kind of have to work on.
Yeah, I'm missing the pattern recognition.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that just requires more play, to be honest.
More play. That's really what it comes down to. Or if you really want, practicing what percent certain moves work at, or what percent, like how high up does stomp pop up at certain percents, and then see what you can get out
Okay.
of them. Maybe just kind of get familiar with it, or at least react better to the how high they pop up, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I think you have enough time to react. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, you're not even actionable until
Yeah.
16, which you have more than time to react. 18, 19, 20, 21. Like, you have more than enough time to react to see how high they popped up in this
I'm playing
situation.
too predictionary.
Exactly. So you have more than enough time to see how high they pop up. At least around, like, where were they? Like 40%?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, around 40%. Around 40% and above, you definitely can react to a stomp. Like, and how much time. Especially with no DI, that's for sure. If they DI this, makes it obviously more difficult. But even then, it would have probably made it more... It probably would have made it easier to follow up, just because you probably could have gone like a dash up air maybe. But you definitely had enough time to react. Oh, and then slightly...
I run into that scenario a lot. I just don't go far enough.
You just have
For the
to
grabs.
just run a bit more. That's it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because that I don't know if that makes sense. That might be the worst habit. I run this scenario where I whiff this a lot, where I don't run far enough, but I think the distance that I run from tech and from when reacting to a tech, that is like a muscle memory thing. And that is very hard for me to leave, which is kind of important because me missing the grab here, like, and them getting a spot dodge means that I get shined.
The restrictive session that you, if you end up doing them, that you do for grab, that might help you in this situation. Just because you're not grabbing at all, when you come back to it, you might lose that habit.
Okay.
You might. I can't say for certain. Like, that's, again, I probably just jinxed it, but
It'll probably be better as well whenever I practice rolling tech chases.
that too as well.
I'll probably just get more used to the distance I need to go.
That as well. Yeah.
I think I think I kind of grab without looking. I think I just assume that I'll grab them at the distance that I run, and this is as part of the. It's in a weird way. It's almost a prediction in itself. Like, I'm not reacting to the distance that they rolled. I'm reacting to the fact that they rolled and hoping that I go far enough. I don't know how the Slippy refile ended, but I guess it's been a significant portion of time anyways. It might have been cut off in the when I tried to upload like 9 files at the same time.
Oh yeah, true. I mean, we got the gist of it. We can keep going. I have no time commitment, but
Okay.
We definitely went over a decent amount of things. And I think the thing is that you have a decent idea, and honestly, you have, for 10 months, you're way better tech skill than I know some people who have for playing this game for 2 years, even 3 years. Like, you did a hacks dash double jump into a shield, into a decently timed shield drop up air off of their hit on your shield into a nice stomp, and it's like you only miss like certain weird micro situations where stomp is like at a weird height. Like, you have the ability to do a lot of things already. It's just you have to play more and reduce the amount of bad habits that you have, and refine your punish game a bit more.
If you'd be down for it, we could speed run one of the sheet games just so I get 2 different matchups.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it could just be a quick one. It should be one of the center games, like one of the maybe not the first one because it's probably also hand warmer. Mm-hmm. It might not be. I don't know.
Let me see. It is what? Which one did you say? Which stage or?
It's no, I just said one of the 3. I don't remember anything from either of them. It's one of the 3 center ones, like game 4, 5, or 6. But game 4 might be a warm up. I don't know.
Do you want Yoshi's or Pokemon?
Do Yoshi's. I do think there's like these games are much more full of like tech flubs though. I definitely found myself getting upset in these because we're really good friends, but like I asked them, I was like, hey, because the only prize for this tournament was like Discord Nitro. It's my friend's tournament. But like I wanted to win, and I was like, hey, will you play Sheik against me? Because I've been going to locals and I have like Sheiks at my locals, and I wanted Sheik practice in a tournament setting where I'm like worried about losing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, will you play Sheik against me? So they told me they'd play Sheik, and if I like in the first set of grands, in case in case I upset it, but I didn't. So that's why they switched to Sheik. It wasn't like some BM shit.
No, yeah, definitely. What scene are you again? Are you New Jersey?
Oh, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, you're NC. Oh, okay, dope.
No, not dope.
Not
There's
dope, yeah.
nobody here.
I was gonna say not
There's-
dope. Also, I've heard some things
I've
about.
won my locals,
Wait.
like my first locals.
Really?
Yeah, it is upsetting. I've lost some of them because like I went to a monthly and freaking Nog was there, like the PM player. I don't know if you know who that is. They're like top 5 PM player.
I'm aware of who Nog is. Yes.
And it was so funny, man. I hope he doesn't see this, but after he lost a set in grands, he freaking complained for 30 minutes, like the entire time, that until he played his grand final set and 6-0 the guy. But yeah, I got destroyed by him.
Did he play? Did he play DK versus you? Or?
He played DK. I got fucked. I got obliterated. I don't have that set because it was like they didn't stream our melee games for some reason because they prioritized ultimate. They didn't stream any of our melee games, but I got fucked up. I had no idea what to do against DK.
Honestly, even if you did, Nog's just.
His punish game was so good.
He's just
it was so impressive.
He's just a lot better than you. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do.
Leagues.
Yeah, no, I've heard many a story about Nog. That's all I'll say.
I brought a game to 1 stock, but that was as good as I could do. I couldn't get past that. The next game he 3-stocked me.
After that, he's like, all right, let's just destroy this.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. Anyways, all right, let me reshare my screen.
Yeah, this game, I'm pretty sure I miss a punish that would have won me the game.
Okay.
And it's pretty depressing.
If you're gonna run up grab, you gotta okay.
See, that's the scenario.
Yeah, okay.
So right before I hit their face.
Yeah.
That is like the biggest like hole in my armor. It is really bad, and it's every matchup. Happens against Falco, happens against Fox, Sheik, Marth.
I think that's you also potentially just trying to grab them where they were instead of where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Right. It comes back.
I guess realistically, that's the biggest problem.
That's what comes. I think. Yeah. I think it comes back
as a consequence.
Full circle that you're. Because logically it makes sense because you do the same with your aerials, and there's no reason why you wouldn't be doing the same with your grab. It's just another move, right? SDI.
I tried to SDI.
Yeah.
I tried.
This is what you have to practice. This is like an Uncle Punch thing for sure. You go and you practice SDI, and then you never think about it again. Gentleman wake up. Nice holding down. That was actually really good. The roll is pretty good. This gentleman, they went for an up smash, which is nuts. Your gentleman's not bad. But then you go for a pivot nair for no reason.
Yeah.
Like you it wasn't bad, but wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like so this is the kind of spot where I'll do gentleman and then I'll do a stomp. And the reason I do a stomp because I'm trying to gauge what they're gonna do. Are they gonna forward tilt?
Like just stomp in place or stomp forward?
Stomp forward.
I don't.
So I full drift forward.
Okay.
Stomp. Full drift forward instant stomp.
I just feel like I get F tilted there.
Well, that's what we're trying to see.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
Gotcha. Scouting moves.
Scouting move. See, down tilt. Because for whatever reason, a lot of Sheik players like that aren't good enough. And again, this is probably their secondary Sheik, right? So
yeah.
they're gonna go for down tilt here. But the thing is you're also doing it. You're doing it mostly to see if they're gonna F tilt you, but you're also gonna then if they don't down tilt you, get a stomp. So it works. It works in your favor, in even if you get hit by an F tilt or an up tilt.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it tells me something.
It tells
at
you
least.
something. And hell, I even do this on good Sheik players and it works. So it's one of those things that there's no reason not to go for it at this kind of situation.
Yeah, this option is too defensive,
Yes,
given the fact that I landed the gentleman.
You have and you have no intel on why to do a pivot nair here. And even then, like a pivot nair is not gonna. What are they gonna do? They're gonna run up Like, is she gonna run up and like?
Well, I thought if
fairies?
they F tilted, well, you'll see I drift the Nair in. The intention is to like try and drift in and kick their foot, but it's definitely a little ambitious
Even
to
then
say the least.
even then they can ASDI down and then grab you, potentially
Yeah,
dash
you're right.
grab. Like it's sorry.
Yeah, the decision making is unwarranted for sure.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna focus too much because
Mhm.
lightning. But yeah, I like that empty hop grab. I don't mind gentlemen's versus Sheik. She's just running. I don't know what happened here. It's just a bunch of tech skill. We're just gonna move past this.
Oh no, that was on purpose. That was on fucking purpose, dude. Oh my god.
The down tilt?
Yeah, but no, not my down tilt. The fucking her running through me and F smashing because we watched a fucking meme video about Tafikants running through
Yeah.
people and F smashing.
It's not actually that bad. It's not. I'm being serious because Sheiks never do it. It's actually not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, I remember she busted out laughing in the middle. I was like, and I called her a bitch because it was the stupidest shit. But yeah, the down tilt, just terrible reactions.
Yeah. That's so funny. Up air. I like that. You're in their space. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's good. You're cutting off. You know, the knee is not like totally in their space. You didn't keep the knee out for long enough, but you cut it off enough space that you can at least pressure them to do something. Like, they're in a really bad spot here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole point of overshooting. It's either to get a hit or at least put them in a position where, and hopefully you don't get punished for it, hopefully put them in a bad position. Like, you want to hit them. Your whole goal is to hit them, but also to cut off their space. So you do go to ledge. That's nice. Not bad ledge dash. See, stomp. Stomp this until Sheik tells you, like, makes you not stomp. Just keep stomping.
Okay.
It's just so good. Even off a forward tilt. Oh, you missed a turnaround grab. You can get a dash grab. Like there. See, now it's like, okay, I got forward tilted. Now I'm not going to do it as much.
Failed ledge dash.
Yeah, failed ledge dash. A rule of thumb, if you're ever... Now, this is more so for... like refreshing, but if you ever find yourself like getting off ledge too fast, react to the sound of you grabbing ledge as a reactionary point in order to let go of ledge.
Okay.
Like right here, you hear that and then you know, and you know, instead of doing it too soon. But you have to react. You can't. It can't be you expecting you to grab at this point. It's you reacting to the sound. Just
okay. Yeah. So I'm listening out for it.
Yeah. Like if you find yourself, you happen to be, like, don't do that as your main go-to. It's just if that happens to be that you are getting a lot of tournament winners or messing up, like getting off ledge, use that as a way to help you get back in line, like with the proper letting go.
Yeah, without doing the refresh.
Exactly.
Okay.
But again, refreshing is not a bad idea. Patience off ledge is not a bad thing. Just don't be too patient, because then, you know.
Yeah, I just don't like doing the refresh too often because that becomes a habit in itself. Where like they know you're beat if you refresh once, because a lot of people refresh then ledge dash.
Well, just mix up your options off ledge.
Yeah.
It's you have like 2 different areas, 3 different areas you can do off ledge. You have hack stashing, which is ambiguous. You have hack sense double jump. You have ledge dash roll. You have ledge dash shield. You have ledge dash right, like straight down. You have
I have a question.
Yeah.
After watching a fuck ton of like Wizzy's run, how does he get away with? Because like he doesn't really hack stash that much, like in comparison to like S2J or Gatsu or even like Android Zero. And then I watch him just nair from ledge like 1 out of 2 times, and he hits them. What is he doing different?
He's just he's just doing really good nairs off ledge.
I just don't get it. I see it happen so much, and then I nair off of ledge, and then I get fucked.
Because your timing. So he's doing it because they're at a. He knows they're not going to punish you properly. They're at a good spacing and percent, and he's at a good timing to do so.
Okay.
That's like the main. He's not thinking this exactly, but that's kind of what he's feeling about the situation,
So
right?
I'm just choosing worse scenarios to
Yes,
do it in.
you're probably naring when like Sheik's like right over here, where he's naring where they're like right here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like
Yeah.
a very simple way of thinking about it. Again, another stomp into missed, right? Low percent.
Yeah.
You gotta just grab or forward tilt. And honestly, if I was you, just make it habit to grab. But you know, oh,
My philosophy is that if Sheik is above me, then she's supposed to get up aired.
that's fine. It's just the fact that you missed the second one.
Yeah.
There's no reason you should miss the second one. You should already be dashing past for the second one. Like after the first one, you should be dashing. The rule of thumb with Falcon, it's like you get a hit confirm and they're high enough percent that they are far enough away that you have to dash. You're dashing forward. Almost
Okay.
every hit, you're dashing forward. Like there's no reason to ever dash back. Like you should be dashing forward immediately. It might have just
Yeah,
been
that was a walk. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck, dude.
It might have also been
Yeah.
that you missed, like, read the situation, thought they were closer, and that you didn't have to dash. But more likely now is probably the fact that you just accidentally walked.
Yeah.
But that's like the rule of thumb. Like you could have easily dash, scooped them off again, and they're sliding off, and then up aired them again, they're dead.
Yeah.
See, like
I
you're,
tried to wiggle out to grab ledge.
no, that was good. Your wiggle out to grab ledge was fine, and you missed it, and that's fine. But look at your nair. Your nair's not going as far. It's not out as long. Like that's why Wizzy's nairs work. He would have hit. He would have hit Sheik here. At worst trade. And in your case, like you
I miss and I'm about to get fucked.
yeah, but it's fine because
Oh well.
you got a forward tilt. Now you got a
Yeah.
juicy combo. But that's to answer your question.
Yeah,
Wizzy just
okay.
does better nair. He goes further. He's higher up. He's more invincible. Like the list just goes on.
It's
and on.
everything. It's everything.
Better timing. Like he probably honestly would have done it the same timing here, but he just would have done the nair, as me and my buddies say, gooder.
Yeah. Hotter girlfriend.
Hotter girlfriend.
Better paying job.
You know, better looking. Just sucks.
Yeah.
Man. Sucks to suck. Nice stomp. I like this. Oh, we missed the grab. Let me see. Missed the grab, but it's fine.
Yeah, no dash.
You moved away, which is also fine, because you're like, okay, they're going to swing at me, which is fine, even if they like dash attack or something. You're doing a nice nair to cover platform. I like this. Again, you're not dashing afterwards. You could have easily gotten up air. Instead, you dash forward, or you wave dash forward, or whatever that was, and then you dash back. Right?
I'm not confident enough that my hit will lead into something. I'm not reacting to it.
Yeah, you're not reacting, and you can react to your confirms. Okay, so what the rule of thumb is you dash immediately, and then you react to the DI. Now, at lower percents, you should just you'll eventually intrinsically know how far they're gonna go, no matter the kind of DI. But like on higher percents, the point is that you're gonna dash and you're gonna jump out there, and you're going to react to the DI. In this case, you're just gonna be running, and you'll just up air them, and you just should know the percent is gonna not send them that far because they're low percent, right? Be aware of their percent and the move you chose, and then you know that they're not gonna go that far, but you can still should be dashing forward. What you do, but then you like stopped, and then you're like, okay, now I'm just like you're not sure of yourself, like you said. Good nair, knee, which is like, see, that's fine. Like even though you reversed it, you got the nair and you immediately dash forward, right? Like right here.
Yeah, it's just about being confident in my decisions.
Exactly. Be confident in your decisions, which just comes with being more competent in your movement, right? It's how I like to describe this. I'll describe this really quick, and then we'll get back to it. You've ever everyone's done public speaking before, right? Have you ever done a speech where you weren't prepared properly?
Yes.
Yes, and you know how like horrible that is. Like it's essentially
Unbelievably
it's
embarrassing.
horrible, and you're not confident in your ability. And then you start like mumbling or whatever, right? Same goes for melee. If you're not confident in your tech skill and you're not confident in yourself to do what's necessary, you start second guessing yourself like you do here. It's all about being confident in your tech skill and being confident in your ability, and then just trusting yourself.
Shiv just need there.
Right here, yeah, right here is a knee for sure. You can even get a reverse knee here. The up air, I would have up aired again. just because if they do slide off, they get up aired. If they don't slide off, I can still get the up air.
They've also already shown that they have slid off like every up air
Every
that
up
I've
air.
done to them on the platform.
This is
I should have recognized that.
This is the first time. Sorry to cut you off. This is the first time though that they held down slid off though.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, the up air will cover both here. Even if they didn't slide off here. But that's if you know, that's because you went for the up air. In which case, we all know you should have kneed here. And then you're grabbing them where they are instead of where they're going to be, right?
Yep.
You had.
I think I got stuck.
Yeah, you had frame advantage here. You could have gotten a grab. You could have even gotten, like, if you were late, like a knee, you know, on the spot dodge or whatever, or shield. And they're looking away, so you have more than, you have all the resources. So yeah, definitely looked like you messed up. Then you tried to meet them where they were, which again, not too bad. Grabbing where you're not even grabbing where they are. You're grabbing just in front of where they are.
Yeah.
Because I think it's because you were scared to get hit. That's why.
I assumed that I was going to crouch cancel grab this. I hold down in the middle of this dash, I'm pretty sure. And then I think that I'm gonna hold down
and then grab it. Yeah, okay. So like G0ds grab it. Honestly, it works out. Dashing in, Sheik's double jumping off stage, and you're just expecting to get in there without any issues.
Yeah.
You're not reacting to what Sheik's doing. You're not looking at the screen. Waiting quarter. Never just hold down like this. Like, at this point that this missed, you should stop holding down.
Okay.
But then again, honestly, would have paid if you actually held down even more. But the thing is let me see. I would have up aired here.
Yeah, I didn't react to them going into the air.
Going into the air, right? And then you definitely could have up aired, and then you were holding. That's why holding crouch is not the greatest, because then you're kind of like forced to hold it for longer until you don't hold it long enough, and then you throw it a move, and then you're ASDIing down, and then now you're in a tech chase situation, and you're dead.
Even worse, because this controller that I was using can't dash back out of crouch, so I'm like stuck there.
Oh, you're literally stuck there. Oh
yeah.
My God. When in doubt, if you're ever in a situation where you're near ledge and you're like, man, I don't know what to do, just go to ledge.
Okay.
Use the invincibility.
Yeah, there's the up airs.
The up airs.
And they're not even above me, yeah.
And just execution test with bear. Like, stand like right here, execution test with bear, or even like go side platform, fall through, like, or drop down platform like bear. Like, execution test Marth and Sheik with bear, sometimes knee, but mostly bear. Fox is more so knee or like a nice time bear. Knee's better to do, but it's harder. I find doing bear is easier. Falco, if they double laser, there's a bunch of things you can do. The bot goes over it in the Falcon Discord, or you can look at the cookbook. If you're ever not sure, you can always just stomp over top of double lasers. But the rule of thumb, it's much easier to execution test majority of characters with back air than it is to do with nair or knee, just because of the fact it's easier to throw back air more often than it is to throw out knee, as well as it's much easier to just space with back air because it comes out faster, I guess. Whereas like knee is like takes longer, nair is just not good. Up air is again up air, and stomp is too slow, right? Back air just works really well. Has like a decent range. Oh. What for up air here?
I think I wanted to hit them against the stage, but I jumped. Like I wanted to fall off and like hit the,
okay, fall. Okay, if you're gonna try and fall off, hit them.
Technically an execution test.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you even fast fell though, so it almost looked like you were trying to scoop them.
Oh yeah. Maybe that was what I was trying to do.
Because once I saw the fast fall, that's what it felt like. If you're gonna do that, the other option that you said though, it's better to do like a back air or something instead of an up air, just because a back air will hit them. Like if you're expecting to hit them against the stage, then you're already thinking about using a move that's gonna hit behind you. So might as well back air. All right, that's fine. Jab is very odd. I mean, it's not bad, but also because you
I
can hold
figured they
down.
were gonna run up grab. I thought they were gonna try and react to me, and that was like my option if
Oh, okay, no, that's not a bad idea. No, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. And then you hold down to crouch cancel, but then you down tilt, which is fine.
Oh wait. Sorry. I know this isn't super important, but like for this controller specifically, we found out after this there's a problem where it holds down crouch for too long, so I can't crouch rising jab easily. So I got down tilt for like multiple frames after I released crouch.
Oh my god, that's
So
horrible.
that's why, yeah. So that's why so many down tilts come out in these games.
The fact that you're able to react after it though is great. Like, or the fact that you like knew you got the hit.
Yeah.
Wow. Again, grabbing where they were instead of.
I think I might have gotten a down tilt with Z there.
Wow. But yeah, this person, like, if we're talking habits, which again, we didn't go over too many of the habits of the opponent this session, but I like within the first minute, I remember when we watched, like, first minute of watching, not the first minute of gameplay in the game, I already noticed this person loves to go to platform when they're in the corner. But I didn't want to say anything because it's not necessary.
Sure.
Get swatted twice in the same spot. Okay. Both on each side.
Yeah, see, I want to dash dance out of it, and I want to dance close enough to them to where they feel like they want to come off with the fair, but I fuck up my spacing.
It's hard to do that. It's really, really hard to do that. It's easier just to hit them. Just to get in their space and hit them with an up. You know what I mean?
I could just up air. They're on the platform. They're above me.
Yeah,
I should follow my own rule.
Yeah, get close enough up air instead of having like deal like, because again, dash dancing is great, but a lot of times like Falcon, it's harder to evade. It's not like you're Marth or Fox. You know what I mean? You're not small and fast or long dash dance and like low profile like Marth, right? You can low profile like here, but it's just more difficult. It's easier to just hit them. You're fast enough and you can just go across the stage that like they're on platform, you can just hit them. You can run up.
I'm choosing a defensive option when I don't have to.
Yeah, that exactly. You can use your pressure instead of having to them come towards you. You can go towards them and then still have good center stage presence. Right? Instead of giving them half of center stage, you can give them no center stage.
A random knee.
Yeah, and then at that point, it's like you did it too late, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad weight.
That was a knee. Oh.
You definitely could have kneed it, you're right.
Yeah.
Crazy down smash. Again, see how if you had execution tested with Bear, you wouldn't have hit them, but at least you would have been in a spot where you probably could have grabbed them after the tournament winner or up aired them or something.
Yeah. Especially since back air auto cancels. Like I can literally just fucking jump. Yeah, I could react.
Like if I was you, watch like Wizzy or watch SJ or None versus a Sheik and see what they do. Probably not None, but like Johnny or Wizzy, just see what they do.
I have, but I'll watch again.
Just watch again
with a new lens.
Yeah, exactly. Just see what they do when Sheik's on ledge. Stop up there.
I acted as soon as that time I acted as fast as possible. It just wasn't the answer, but I was confident in the decision making.
That's good. It's better to be confident in decision making like this than it is to. Yeah, you could have grabbed.
I thought they were gonna fall off the platform with that, but they did the tumble backwards thing.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm surprised you didn't roll away there, because they were so far away. Right here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's fine. Forward tilt. Crazy raptor boost. Good roll. Good grab.
I
Oh!
should have up thrown too.
Hey, wait, did you down throw that?
Yeah, I down through. You're supposed to up throw at like 34%,
Yeah, you
right?
100% have to up throw that.
Just nerves.
Could have went to ledge there. You're still fine. Oh my goodness, you scared the crap out of me. You got off ledge, did a knee. Could have shield grabbed. Didn't shield grab. Then let go of shield and got down tilted because of it. Missed the tech. And then you're just in a bad spot. Nair. Waiting enough. And you use your space wall, which is actually not bad. And then you do a nair that... Oh. The best thing you could have done here is if you didn't fast fall it and kept drifting more forward, you would have hit them.
Okay.
No fast fall, short hop forward nair is really, really, really good.
I don't think I ever do it, and I definitely should.
Do that. Write that down. Try and practice that. It is very good.
Okay.
Because right there, again, like I talked about before, you really want to make sure that you are using active hitboxes and trying to reach as far as possible. Hit as much range. When you fast fall like you do here, you only hit like in front, like right here. Like after you're done, you maybe hit as far as here. If you did no fast fall, you could have hit like here, which is like double the distance almost, and probably more likely to clip them at least. Up air, and then yeah, you're dead. Let me see. You definitely could have jumped sooner and just wave landed on platform or just ran onto the platform and you would have been fine. Instead, you waited too long and then went for an up air, which they're not even close. And then you
I definitely choose aggression a lot in that situation.
Yeah. Like right here, you could have jumped right here.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, it's probably not good you did. It's not good to do that, but at this point, you're in a bad spot. It's either you jump early here, and they don't grab ledge, or it's either you jump early here and they grab ledge as they did, or you don't jump early, they don't grab ledge, or whatever. The point is you either jump early here, or you wait and then try to go to ledge, or try to like mix them up. But it's hard.
And I didn't choose either.
You didn't choose. Yeah, you kind of just. Yeah, you kind of got bad spot. You did an up air, which nothing needs to be said. And then you're dead. Well. Such is life as a new Falcon player.
Yeah. That being said, after I played with them, I went to my local and dumpstered my local Sheik, so...
That's good.
Yeah.
Don't know how much that says, but that's good.
No, I mean, I get to win money if I beat them up.
That's really good then.
Yeah. It's not much, but it's better than losing money.
Oh, I can agree on that. That's for sure. I think we went over a decent amount of things today.
Yeah, this was really good for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Do you have any other questions?
No, I think that's good. I think I have a lot that I can work on until the next time that I talk to you.
If you have any questions until then, if you end up doing another lesson, which if you don't, I don't blame you. But if you ever have any questions, regardless if you take another lesson or not, I'm more than happy to answer them for you.
Did you get my payment?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I was just making sure. I wanted to, I know I selected the email, but I got anxious as soon as I sent it. What if I sent it to someone else also named that with the same email?
With the exact same email, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you sent it to the right person. Also, I'm